All right, it is SDH AM. John here, you there. Thanks for dropping by as you always do. It's Friday, which means, honestly, it means really only one thing. Well, actually two. I mean, when you have to get things going on a Friday, that means we do this.
Come on, man. Go for it, dude.
It's Friday. Friday. Friday.
Evening, Bam. For Bam, it's almost bedtime. So for Bam, who's 3/4 of a world away, good evening, morning on our end. Here's the rundown for the morning, and we're going to be kind of flying around a lot. So early on here in hour number one, we're going to get into the college game, and we're going to give you your Friday mashup from what happened last night. We're going to catch up with Matt Tarpley, the head coach at Tuskegee, and find out what's going on the men's side for about 10 minutes. And then after him, we're going to go to Georgia Gwinnett and catch up with Doc Mike and find out what's going on the women's side. Dr. Mike Giuliano, the head coach for Georgia Gwinnett, we're going to catch up with him about 9:20, find out what's going on there as they get ready for a busy weekend. Losing, it was, today's Wednesday, they lose at Life 4-2, ranked number 13 in the country, and so now they're getting ready for a matchup this weekend against William Carey. They're going to kind of have a bit of an NAIA run where they're going to go Southern States, and then they're going to be looking at the Sun and a couple of other conferences, but they've come out, win over Montreat, losing to number 13, Life U, William Carey coming up this weekend. So we're going to catch up with Doc Mike here in about 15 minutes. So Matt Tarpley coming up in a couple of minutes, and then it's going to be Doc Mike, and then we'll get into the college game. We've got your Friday mashup and the answer to our question that we posed this morning on social media. What happens when you have a rain game or multiple rain games or multiple games postponed by rain? And the answer is with Maddie and Jason, because the short version is your second match of the day that was supposed to kick off at 7:30 didn't kick off until 10:48, which meant it wasn't over until about 1 o'clock, which meant that unless they found hotel rooms in Macon, Jason got home about 2:30. Maddie got home about 3. So if you see them today and they're a little groggy, that's why. Rain absolutely destroyed the start times at Mercer last night for the matchups against NC Wilmington and Georgia Southern. The 5 o'clock didn't start until 8. The 7:30 didn't start until 10:48. And there was also a reason that matches didn't get completed on time, and that is opening kickoff. And we'll have opening kickoff after we catch up with Coach Tarpley and Doc Mike around 9:30 and let you know what happened last night. So we'll get into the college game. That's hour number one. Hour number two, Lori Lindsey set to join us from Apple TV, and then Kei Kamara set to join us after Lori Lindsey. 10:30, the Atlanta United Director of Methodology, Javier Perez, is going to join us. We're going to get an update from him. Academy about to get grooving, and we'll find out about what happened with the gathering when you had Stuttgart come in and what it was like to have them as your guest. And I know that Atlanta United is going to be returning the favor and going overseas and catching up with them there. It's a look at what's going on in the younger classifications, the younger age groups, as Atlanta United builds from the academy side. So we're going to catch up with Javier Perez about 10:30, and then we'll get you ready for the weekend, all of your MLS-ness, and we'll get you gassed up, ready to go there with juice boxes, referees, and all your storylines. We've got the gossip, rumor, and innuendo. With the transfer window kind of dying, we'll find out what's going on there, and we'll see who might be moving. Emi Martinez looks like he's heading to Chelsea on a 2-year deal. Looks like it's €7.5 million. on the move over, and we'll find out what it looks like there. All right, we're going to dial it up. Bat and leadoff. He's our Ricky Henderson or our Rod Carew today. And for this, we go to Tuskegee, find out what's going on with Tuskegee. And Coach Matt Tarpley going to hang out with us here, bat and leadoff. And so what's the word, Matt?
How we doing this morning, John?
Well, you're the one who's kind of busy building something from scratch. I figured I'd bug you for 10 minutes and find out what's going on.
Well, we're staying busy, working hard, kicking off the inaugural season.
You got a match tonight. What's study hall been like getting ready for Huntington?
So we had Huntington last night.
Last night. Okay. So nothing like a calendar. All right. So then how was last night?
Not terrible.
Yeah.
It's the same problems that have been popping up preseason for us so far. We're struggling to finish. We need to be more clinical in that final third. Defensively, we were pretty sound. I think we only allowed 2 shots. However, we gave up 2 own goals and ended up taking a 2-0 loss last night, which, that's just tough. I think long run, it'll do us well. I think we'll be able to learn from this. I think our guys needed, the kind of punch in the gut to, get them refocused and help them understand that they're not, the kings of the world that maybe they think they are. We've got a lot of really, really talented freshmen, and, they know they're talented. And being freshmen, they have that ego and they think maybe they're a little more ready than they actually are. So for us, it's more between the ears than anything else at this point.
Yeah. Then before that, earlier this week, it was the matchup against Faulkner. And now you're heading to Jackson, Tennessee this weekend. 3rd match in 6 days. This will be a different kind of a test where you kind of get to figure out their constitution and where they are when it comes to having to do quick turns and things like that. It's a new kind of a challenge for them.
Yeah, one that when we were putting the calendar together, we knew we wanted to try this out pretty early to pack in, 3 real quick. We did a Monday, a Thursday, and a Saturday. That's a lot in 1 week. But I need to see, how the boys are going to handle those stressors. How will you handle your recovery, preparing your body for the next one on such a short turnaround. We'll give them, we'll have about 5 or 6 days off after tomorrow. So we'll give them time to get their bodies back in decent shape. But yeah, we're looking forward to it. It's our first little road trip. So I think it'll be good to get the boys off campus, spend some time together. Nothing like a 6-hour bus ride to develop some bonds and build some relationships. And then Union's a really good side, so it'll be a tough test tomorrow afternoon.
When you mentioned all of these different little challenges and things like that, what have been your, you mentioned it a little bit where you have a very talented group of underclassmen. Yeah. And, if I remember my Greek correctly, sophomore was wise fool. The loose translation of that.
Wise fool sounds very accurate at this moment. Last night I think was a prime example, and I watched the game when I got home because I'm a glutton for punishment, like that. And so I got home a little after 11 and then watched a 90-minute match. We were way too emotional, right? And I think that shows our age and our maturity level. And when a call didn't go our way, they were dramatic about it. The sky is falling type of stuff. When a pass wasn't played to them perfectly like they wanted, they were demonstrative and, they looked like a bunch of 5-year-olds. Yeah, that's it. Right? We're a bunch of 5-year-olds throwing a temper tantrum.
Oh, wow.
And that's what we talked about after the match, that we've got, and all that's, up here, right? Their skills and their feet are fine. It's what's going on between their ears that is holding us back at the moment. And I understand that's, being 18, 19, 20-year-old guys. But we've got to work on that. I sent the boys, Coach Mike Getman from over here, that was at UAB for a million years, sent me something this week on the mental game. And I loved it, and it was beautiful, and I forwarded it to the guys. And I think that's the part that we're going to have to get a grip on if we want to see some success going forward.
Faulkner and Huntington in the rearview mirror. Union coming up in Jackson, Tennessee this weekend. What has it been like for you and the staff hitting the ground running? Obviously, we talked before everybody hit campus, and now that everything is for reals, what's it been like for you and the staff piecing this together?
We're enjoying our time with the boys, right? The soccer we love and we enjoy, and they're willing participants, and they work hard. They did really well in preseason. They embraced the suck, right? They went through all their fitness testing, and they did well. Surprisingly, they had done what we had asked them over the summer, and so they showed up, in shape and ready to go. The transition from high school club, we've got a lot of freshmen. Last night at Huntington, we started 8 freshmen. Yeah, right. And they're really talented guys, but that's where the headspace, rears its ugly heads. But we've had a good time. We did some really good bonding. We got some good excursions. I think the boys really enjoyed the trip over to Atlanta. We went and toured the new National Training Center, the U.S. National Training Center, and we're their guest for the day. And, that was an amazing experience. And I think the boys really learned a lot and spent quality time together on that little excursion. So we've enjoyed that part of it. The soccer's groovy, getting classes started and getting acclimated to living in dorms and, dealing with their schedules, has been tricky at times, but, we're excited to get out there and play, and the boys are enjoying competing.
Dr. Mike Giuliano from Georgia Gwinnett coming on here in the next couple of minutes, but we wanted to get our progress report from our friend Matt Tarpley out at Tuskegee. And when you have all of these freshmen, and then we mentioned the demonstrative nature of 18-year-olds, where it's either you're dealing in extremes. There's no middle ground of trying to. It's like understand that there is a curve here. It is a laugher. It is a bell curve. It is not anything that everything's 100 or everything is 0. How difficult is it to have them understand the patience of the flat line and being at 50 and not getting too high or too low?
Yeah, that's my challenge right now. If we can achieve that and just maintain composure for 90 minutes, not celebrate like you won the lottery when you score a goal, and don't act like the sky is falling when we concede. That's our mission, and that's my biggest challenge at this point. And so we'll have to spend some time. We've got a sports psychologist that's working with the boys, and he and I will be talking probably on the bus this afternoon. And we may set up something for this evening once we arrive in Jackson, where we can do just a Zoom session with him, because these boys have got to understand that, through the ups and downs, we have to stay even keel. Right. And we've got to be able to keep our composure in order to perform at maximum efficiency.
I'm going to take care of some business here on the air and break the fourth wall. Is it okay to call you after the show is over?
100%. Yes, sir.
Okay. Because I just wanted to catch up with you on a couple of things off air.
Absolutely.
In addition to what we're doing, you realize this is going to turn into a regular thing this season, by the way.
No, I love it. You're a super smart guy, and you ask great questions, and you get me thinking about things. And so, no, I love this and appreciate it. Yes, sir.
And we get to talk about North Lake Tower Festival and AMC Theaters and North Lake Mall. Trust me.
Yeah. I had a conversation with the baseball coach out at Providence Christian Academy earlier this week. And, we were flashing back and reminiscing about those good old days. Yeah, it's good times.
But it's always great to catch up with you. Obviously, Huntington in the rearview mirror with the win on Faulkner, and now you're heading up to Jackson, Tennessee this weekend. It's always great to catch up with you. I will catch up with you after the show about some logistics, and we'll do this on a regular basis. I can't wait to catch up with you next time, Matt.
Thank you, John. I appreciate you.
There he goes. It's Matt Tarpley, head coach at Tuskegee, and they're heading up to Jackson, Tennessee to take on Union. That is going to be tomorrow afternoon, 4:00 local time. And I got to catch up with Coach Stevens on the other side and find out what's going on the women's side. We'll do that next week. I'll shoot him an email, and we'll do this since this is their first year of being, online and everything. We'll catch up with the two of them and just kind of learn about the growth curve. So that is life at Tuskegee on the men's side. Now we're going to go to Georgia Gwinnett, find out what's going on the women's side. We bring in Dr. Mike Giuliano. Greetings, Doc Mike.
Hi,
how are you?
I'm doing well. Rough night the other night, but in a lot of ways, I was somewhat hopeful. So we're doing fine.
All right. So what were the lessons after what happened the other night? What has stuck with you now that that one's in the rearview mirror?
So if this were a movie and if we were the good guys, most movies have unbelievable adversity that the good guys have to face, and you think they can't get out of this, and then they do. John, if you would have asked me on July 1st, I just said I have the three best striker recruits coming in the NAI in the country. I still believe that. I had Division I coaches call me, how'd you get so-and-so to come? And then two of them tore their ACLs this summer, and one of them did not get her student visa due to some nation restrictions. And so suddenly all three were gone. And then the other night, early in the game, we lose our starting nine. And so 4 of the 5 strikers we were going to really count on the most are no longer available. And yet, despite that, we took I've checked the wonder of AI. It just makes research so much easier sometimes, although it's not always true. But I checked. Life hasn't been kept to under 10 shots in. They've been kept under 10 twice in 4 years, and despite all of that, we did that. We outshot them 20-9, and I'm playing a 9 who's never played the 9, and so I can't help but be hopeful. I love the fight. We gave up some really painful goals. Like your previous guest said, you don't want to get too low and too high on the goals and too low. But what I learned is I think our commitment to high pressure is at an all-time high, and I think that's gonna really serve us well this year, and we're going to compete for this. And eventually, hopefully, we'll find out in the next couple of days. We hope our starting 9 comes back, and we'll be fine. We'll be fine. So love this team. Love the fight that they showed the other night in trying to to come back from that.
Well, and and you mentioned the challenges of this. I mean, it's for that particular player or those players that you have these conversations with. It's like, hey, I need you to do something that's outside of your comfort zone or something that you haven't done in quite some time. I need you to kind of rework your brain here a little bit, but you got to do it on the fly for me. It's not something it's like, okay, you got to cram for this test and then you got to get out there and do it. There's no like learning. It almost seems like it might be easier in a pinch to just sit there and say, hey, I need you to do this, to where they don't have to think about it. They just get to go out and do it. Does that make sense?
Right. No, it does. And I think, it was, looking back at retrospect, it was almost a funny moment. We're sitting there on the sidelines when Gabby, our starting 9, is on the ground, clearly in great distress. And we go, well, what are our options now? And so now we're not looking at what people on the striker depth chart. We're looking at people on the other depth charts, and sure enough, we decided, I think you nailed it correctly. We were asking not only who has the skill set to play to get us some goals, but who has the mindset, who can transition. I'm a wing back, and now suddenly I'm playing 70 more minutes at striker. And because I think she got hurt with about 20 minutes into the game. And so we did. Her name's Frida. She's from Denmark. She's a wing back, but she played phenomenal up there. And what we did in the second half, again, I'm never happy with a loss. I mean, who is, right? Part of it was we just had no adversity at that point. Take the 3 friendlies in the first regular season game. We'd outscored them 13-0. We'd given up 7 shots in 4 games total. So this is our first shot at adversity. To see us respond to adversity the way we did, I have to feel somewhat confident that we've got the right mindset for this season. Now, do we have enough pieces that can put the ball in the goal? That will be the question mark.
When you look at your roster, and this is taking class out of it, upper class, underclass.
Sure.
When you have, I think it was 17 internationals as a part of your beginning of the year roster.
Right.
And they're not coming from the same spot. It literally is like, Rand McNally and Webster's are working for you overtime.
Right.
What's it like to integrate Canada, the U.S., Georgia, Europe? What's it like to integrate all of these pieces to have the roster that you have? How difficult is that for your group?
Well, first of all, real quickly, it's a blast. It just to the different types of humor, the different types of communication skills, the different foods, everything. We've really loved having so many, countries on our team over the years. But I tell them, right away, when I'm recruiting them, I say, look, here's what you need to know. We are obsessed with high pressure defense. I'm a Jurgen Klopp, disciple. I really believe, in that approach to the game. And I said, and secondly, we're going to play small diamonds all over the pitch, and we're going to possess, look for our chances to go direct, but that's out of the small diamonds. You will make small diamonds everywhere. If you're not comfortable with either one of those, you can't play here. I tell them that in the recruiting class. And of course, everyone, oh yeah, I'm comfortable with that. And you find out, the soccer in Europe, for example, most of our overseas kids are from Europe, is beautiful football. It's very high soccer IQ football, but high pressure is team to team, right? Some teams have no interest in that. They want to sit back and sort of park the bus and then counter, Real Madrid like from a few years ago. But we're not interested in that. We did that. John, to be honest with you, I sat there at the national selection committee last year. I was on the committee. Back they had coaches. Now they don't have coaches, but back there. And they said, well, what do you want? When you come in the room in a few minutes, what do you want to see? I said, well, there's 40 teams. I just don't want to see blank. Anyone else, any of the other 38 will be fine. And of course, John, I walked in the room and it was blank. It was Kaiser, the team that would win the national championship. Yeah. And so we sat in, which is completely against our team ethos. Mm-hmm. And I know I'm probably being stupid here, giving scout reports for anyone watching that might play us, but I'm not going to do it again. We are a high pressure, put numbers around the ball defensively team, daring you to go long and direct on us, and that's who we're going to be. And so far, I love what I've seen. Again, the other night straight, we gave up an own goal, 2 set pieces, and a goal in which not one but 2 players had clear chances to clear the ball, and both of them missed it. And then the girl behind him happened to be on live, and she said, "Thank you for that," and put the ball in the goal. So we'll be fine. We'll be fine.
I know that set pieces is something that you can teach. You can do that.
Yes.
That is something that is practice field, and you can do that.
Yes.
Clearing the ball, that is something that's just you've got to get the player in the mindset of just get rid of it. You don't have to think about it, and you don't have to try to be cute about it. It's just like, look, just get rid of the thing.
There you go. Yeah.
And so it's stuff that is practice field navigable. That It's like you can get those kinds of reps in there. You mentioned being a rock and roller when it comes to what you want to do out there. Is there any concern, and this is something that obviously can help during the year with Constitution and everything, are you concerned about the last, say, 10 or 15 minutes of each half, considering the amount of pressure that you put on? Or do you worry early in the year about fatigue and then having those time frames come back and get you with the team that's been going up against you in that first half and the second half of the way?
Great question, John. And one of the most interesting stats is we had 33 healthy players in the roster last year. We have 22 this year, and that's by design. I won't go into all the details of why we did that, but that's by design. It wasn't we didn't like 33. Last year, it was common for us to have 9 people come in as subs in the first half. That's not happening this year. So I told the team in day one, I said, we're going to be an interesting little thought experiment here, and then hopefully translate in the pitch. You're going to be high pressure on steroids, but we have to be able to drop in and rest ourselves sometimes. So we, like all teams, we have pressure, the line of restraint. We have pressure 1. That's 120 yards of pure chaos. We have pressure 2, pressure 3, pressure 4. 4, I don't know if I could ever bring myself to do again. It's like park the bus, put 11 in the box and hope for the best. Sort of what England did against Mexico, or 10. I guess they had a man down. But we have gone to pressure 2 and 3 quite a bit because we have to. I'm playing people a lot more minutes. You cannot be that kind. If this were basketball, forgive the basketball analogy. This is full court press. You can't do that.
It's Nolan Richardson, 40. It's 40 minutes of hell.
Yeah. You can't pull that off on a 120-yard by 65 by 70-yard pitch. You just can't. And so we have to pick our spots to chill things out and to give the other team the ball. So far, it's worked really well. Now, the other night, we didn't so much, we hadn't given up any goals all season long. That was our 5th game, and we hadn't given up any goals our 2nd regular season game. And so maybe we were chasing the game. Tough to not want to play pressure when you're chasing the game. And so we didn't do it then, and maybe that was an issue. But John, the stats say otherwise. And I think the wonderful coach they have there would agree. We dominated the second half. We hit the post. We had, I think, double their shots, and so you're right though. You're right. You can't play the Nolan Richardson full court press for 90 minutes on a soccer pitch. Not with maybe 5 subs are going to get in. So we have to pick our moments.
What's it like? This is almost like Rocky 2 here. It's you're trying to have Rocky fight right-handed at times when you're a southpaw.
Yeah.
It's got to be a bit of an odd juxtaposition at times where Rocky's fighting right-handed, and then then it's all of a sudden Mickey says now, and then you get it all squared away.
Well, here's the challenge with that.
Yeah.
So when we drop into pressure 2 or pressure 3 or pressure 4, it's still high pressure, just with a much lower line of restraint.
Okay.
And the brain doesn't work that way though. Oh, we're not pressuring the attacking third anymore, so they're getting in too easily. And so we just keep preaching, talk about broken record. All of us coaches have our little 25 sayings, and mine are, we're a high pressure team for 90 minutes in every one of our 4 defenses, but some of them start deeper than others to rest your legs a bit. And you're right though. You're right. It can be challenging to do that, and then, out of the fire, or out of the frying pan into the fire, on Sunday, we played the team that probably has the best history of wins and losses in the last 10 years. And they just tied number 1 in national champions Kaiser. So nothing like a lot of fun to see if it works this weekend, but we're going to have to pick our times to be left-handed Rocky if we can.
Yeah. Well, and you mentioned William Carey, and, looking at your schedule, it is Southern States, it is Sun, it is all these heavyweights. And I mean, you've never been one to sit there and back down from any kind of a challenge. What are you looking for? I mean, the wins and losses aside, win, loss, draw aside against the number 9 team in the country. What are you looking for specifically that you can build from and look at on tape, or drive yourself crazy over the weekend in between the William Carey match and Mobile?
Well, one of them happened this last time we played number 12 in the country. I truly believe, by the way, that life is underranked. I've seen most of the best teams already, at least a little bit. Mm-hmm. I think they're underranked. I think they'll be a top 10 team really soon. I want to see what our team does with adversity. And, we go down, we start the game, we score on, and I think they'd agree, probably the worst goalkeeper mistake I've ever seen by them. And we're up by a goal. Then they score 2, they're up. And then they score a third one, 3-1. And then we score another one, 3-2. And we're there, man. We are fired up. And honestly, John, when they scored the 4th on just a horrendous defensive corner kick performance by us, when it was 4-2, I thought, I don't know. Is my team going to be able to fight and hunt, from there? I gave a really corny hunt is a big phrase for us. It's very well defined. It's part of our high pressure ethos. And we actually define it in some very specific ways. And I gave a corny joke at pregame, but some got it, some didn't. I said, guys, good news. You guys know that eagles have been on the endangered species list. I just found out it was changed today. You can hunt eagles now. And of course, they're the life eagles. Some laughed, some thought, they're from some other country. What is he talking about? But I want to see how we deal with adversity. And I think when you play teams like William Carey, I mean, I think we're their match athletically, but they're so tactically sophisticated. It's your ability to scan on a regular basis, John. Mm-hmm. There it is if we can pick up our scanning to 3 to 5 seconds, every 3 to 5 seconds, I think we can survive on Sunday. If we're not, they're going to surprise us and sneak in places we're not. So vision off the ball. is going to be probably the thing that will decide whether we can. They're much bigger than us, by the way, but I'm not terribly concerned about that. But I am concerned about their tactical sophistication versus our scanning abilities.
2:00 Sunday afternoon up at the center of the Grizzly universe. Is that right?
Right. That's it. And hey, how much fun though? They just tied the national champs. I mean, talk about making yourself relevant in 1 week, in one 2-hour period. Let's take care of business on Sunday. Now, again, I'm starting a striker who hasn't played striker, and if she goes out, I might call you. I might see if you're available. I don't know what I'll do, but
I mean, look, I've got 2 years of eligibility with the NCAA. That much I do know.
There you go. So I love playing these teams. I'd rather play a William Carey and lose by a goal, or heaven forbid by 2, than play someone we beat by 6. I've been that way since for 40 years now, and I will always be that way. And the good news is, therefore, we're prepared when we come to playoffs. We know what's out there, so we'll see.
Cannot thank you enough for doing this, especially on a Friday. And I know that you're getting massively busy and everything, getting ready for a big weekend against William Carey coming off of the Life match. You know that we're going to be knocking on your door a lot as the season continues. We'll get our progress like we do with Matt Tarpley at Tuskegee. So you've been sufficiently warned, and just tell Dale that Nelson's going to be sending you emails when you have breaks.
I love it. Whenever's good for you, we'll make time. This is fun. I get to reflect on what we do well and what we don't do well. And like your previous guest said, you ask good questions, so I enjoy it. So anytime, John.
Thanks for your time, Doc Mike. Good luck this weekend. We'll catch up with you soon.
Thank you.
There he goes, Dr. Mike Giuliano. He's the head coach on the women's side at Georgia Gwinnett. 2:00 Sunday afternoon up at Georgia Gwinnett up in Lawrenceville. Number 9 team in the country in the NAIA William Carey visits, and it's a part of their massive schedule, and they don't flinch twice about these kinds of things. It's like, all right, let's dial it up and see where we are. And the fact that they have had 4 of their 5 that they would like to have at striker no longer available, 2 with injuries, 1 with logistics, and then 1 with another injury. So 3 before the season starts, 1 injured in match. And so now you're having to work on the fly. So that is where Georgia Gwinnett is right now. And they get William Carey coming in this weekend on Sunday. So that is the bit of the red clay. And that gets you kind of kicking as to what's going on. All right. So since we are in the college section, Lori Lindsey set to join us in a little over 20 minutes, and then Kei Kamara at 10:15. The college section will go here from the Kaiser Permanente studios. And what we will do, morning, David. Bam. Highly recommend not to have an avulsion fracture in your ankle. Yeah, that would be, that's bad. Don't do that. So we'll do the college stuff here, and we'll do gossip, rumor, and innuendo on what to watch before Lori Lindsey joins us at 10 o'clock. So here's what we know. Opening kickoff brought to us by our friends Black Pitch Coffee, blackpitchcoffee.com. You start your day with the most important stories in the game, the right way to start your morning. Black Pitch Coffee, part of the SDH community, showing up at events all over Atlanta. Try their home blend made with beans from Brazil, Guatemala, heavy bodied, notes of walnut, semi-sweet chocolate, and a rich world-class finish. Opening kickoff, powered by Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com. So for those of you that were looking on social media and you saw what I was teasing this morning, what happens in matches, it's what happens when rain kind of pushes everything back. And for those of you here in the Southeast, you know that the rain can get kind of stupid. And you don't know where it's going to show up. And legitimately, I have had the discussion with Jason about microclimates for years. And Jason looks at me like I've got 9 heads, more than normal, basically. What I discussed with Jason when it comes to the idea of microclimates is that there's always these locations wherever we live that, because of one thing or another, lack of elevation, increase of elevation, near water sourcing, that those sections of geography will be a little bit more susceptible to precipitation, rain, what have you, than other spots. That's why it could be raining in one place, and then 4 miles away it could be completely and totally sunny or just thick. And so I've always maintained that there are microclimates that are certain places where they're more susceptible, and they're going to get the rain first over somebody else. Middle Georgia is one of those places. And it is legitimately, you'll see there are like there's strips of geography in Middle Georgia where you know that the heavy rain is going to come and hit these spots, and it won't hit others. And it will train and it will go through, and you will have multiple opportunities for the rain and the thunderstorms and all the noise and the lightning and everything. They'll take over afternoons this time of year. And the fact that Mercer University is in one of those stretches of geography where they are just open, and it is like the train's coming down the tracks and Mercer is right there, and it can happen pretty much on a daily basis. I was in Columbus yesterday, and Columbus, if you draw a line, literally geographically, Columbus, you can go a straight line as the crow flies from Columbus to Macon. But there are parts of Columbus that don't get it, that don't get that rain, and you'll see the thunder, you'll hear it, but you won't get the rain attached. 7 miles one way, 7 miles the other way, it'll happen. Didn't happen for me in Columbus yesterday because I was trying to get a couple of shoots done for the high school version of me. But the noise and the thunder and the lightning that I saw in Columbus happened in Macon. Because of that, there were 2 matches yesterday that were supposed to go down. The men's side, Mercer and UNC Wilmington, was supposed to start at 5 o'clock. Then at 7:30, Mercer and Georgia Southern women were supposed to start. Because of all that rain that I saw in Columbus and didn't get in Columbus, Maddie and Jason got it in Macon. And so the 5 o'clock turned into 8 o'clock. And the 7:30 turned into 10:48. So, 3 hours and 18 minutes. The 3-hour part, the 5 to 8, was normal because that was precipitation based. The 10:48 kick for the 7:30 kick would have been a 10:30 kick, except for one thing. Courtesy of ESPN Plus their own selves. Maddie and Jason. 8 minutes to go, regulation.
That's about the only thing in time wasting, because that can happen at the beginning, at the end of games too, as the Seahawks have it collected, as we have the sprinklers going off.
Okay, now look, I was joking earlier when I said that we're running out of things that we've never seen before. This is another one that I've never seen before. It was a joke.
I'm telling you, you jinxed it. You jinxed it, Jason.
I have nothing else to say.
As, again, we have the sprinklers going off. Another stoppage, 8 minutes and 30 seconds. We still have the women's game up next.
Mm-hmm. Yes. The sprinklers came on. The game wasn't done. The sprinklers came on. And the sprinklers stayed on forever. If you go back and watch the replay of the match, if you have the plus, they've truncated the delay. So you're not watching Maddie and Jason fill for 15, 20 minutes. But that was the other reason that the 7:30 turned into a 10:48. Was because of 8 minutes to go in the men's game. Literally 30 seconds after a goal was scored. You have the keeper go down. And then you have the sprinklers come on. The sprinklers were on a timer. And it was only on one side of the pitch at Mercer. It was on the far side near the benches. And so literally the water's coming out and everything. And Betts drained, pretty well from all indications. But you had the sprinklers that were on a timer because, as Jason would say in the broadcast, you got sprinklers that are on timers because you assume that no one's going to be there at that time. Lights are going to be off, maybe, and you're going to get water and just, you're going to water the surface after the 2 matches you had scheduled were played. Because of Mother Nature, you hadn't gotten through the first one yet. Sprinklers were doing their job. Sprinklers were like, hey, yeah, bro, we're doing our thing. but they were on a timer. And I don't know if anybody had the keys to turn the timer off, because I would imagine they probably are on. The sprinklers are on for about 30 minutes. I'm guessing that because the delay, I think, was 18, that they finally got them turned. Excuse me, they got them turned off somehow. And you end up with that delay. And then you ended up also, while the women's teams were warming up over on the second field, the sprinklers over there kicked in. So this is what happens when Mother Nature comes and sits there and is really throwing a wrench in everybody's plans. So you had rain create a 3-hour delay. You had the sprinklers create another 20 minutes, and then truncated some women's practices before they were getting ready for their match. So if you see Maddie and Jason today, if you are out and about on a Friday and you see Maddie and Jason, now you know why they look like death warmed over. Because like I said, game ended about 1. Jason got home probably about 2:30. Maddie got home probably about 3. And so that's why, like I said, they're probably dragging this morning, if not this afternoon, if not tonight. So, boom. Yeah, so that was the craziness that happened. Only a part of the craziness that happened at Mercer last night in Middle Georgia because of Mother Nature. So what else happened last night and yesterday afternoon? Here is a small sample of what went down. Here's your Friday mashup in the colleges. Once again, thanks to our friends at ESPN Plus and all the conferences that create all this stuff on a daily basis.
Right towards the center of the net. Bernal out, and it goes off of McCullough and in. Auburn open up the scoring off of the set piece, and the Tigers gather around Gracie Brown. Auburn 1, Kennesaw State 0. That's a great slide rule pass, and it finds the back of the net. Caldwell, who was deprived earlier on in the second half, now finds the twine. It's Auburn 2, Kennesaw State 0. It's a glancing header that finds Bell to the back post, chest it down and slot it in. It's music to the ears of the Auburn Tigers supporters. It's Emma Music with her first ever collegiate goal.
Wilson into the wall, takes a deflection and in. Goal. Goal. Goal, Georgia Southern. Kendall Wilson puts it off the side of the wall, and it hits the ground and then spins away from Bernard. 1-0 Eagles. Cross in, back post, headed on and in. Goal. Goal. Goal, Georgia Southern off the cross. Natalie Heckathorn with the header. First goal of the season, second of the night, and Georgia Southern turned the momentum back in their direction, and they make it 2-0. Whistle blown. Wilson, goal. Goal. Goal, Georgia Southern. They take the 3-0 lead. Kendall Wilson, her second of the night. And the Eagles have the 3-goal lead. That's a well-taken penalty by Kendall Wilson.
Really well taken.
Deep breath for Peyton Nutzman. Puts this one past Wilson. Got a touch, but goal, 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 Mercer. It is 3-1. Bears trail by 2. 6:17 on the clock.
Learn from the first one. This one, I mean, same spot as well. You pick it and you just put power to it. That's exactly what Nutzman does. She doesn't let that first attempt phase her. She sticks with what she knows, where she's going to go, and it's all power from that.
Braziunas to the right. Slips it through. Pugh, goal. Goal. Goal, Georgia Southern. And after what could have really rattled a team where they concede and the home team's chasing it, Braziunas and Pugh combine for the goal that puts this one away. 4-1 Eagles.
Cuneo with Patterson to Hamano. One more touch in front of the frame, and turning around for the strike, it's Georgia who gets on the board.
Now, to kind of recap what you heard, and that was a bit of what happened yesterday. That's kind of touring colleges in 3 minutes. Georgia Gwinnett went on the road to Dalton State, and the men's team knocked off UNOH yesterday 4-1. Dalton State in the nightcap knocked off Campbellsville 2-1. Auburn shut out, and Auburn got the win over Kennesaw State at the Fraction, and so it was a big win for the Auburn Tigers. You heard Mateen the Dream. He was on the call, and that was your play-by-play. TCU beat UGA, so it was the Frogs over Dogs 3-2. And the Mercer doubleheader, Mercer loses on the men's side to UNCW 1-0. That was the sprinkler game. And then Georgia Southern on the women's side beat Mercer 4-1. And that started at 10:48, probably ended about 1 o'clock in the morning. So that is your quick mashup of everything kind of that we could grab on a quick notice. But that was a bit of what happened yesterday in the colleges. So that's your Friday college mashup, and also your Red Clay update with Doc Mike and with Matt Tarpley from GGC and from Tuskegee. So very cool stuff there to catch up with both of them as their seasons are kind of getting underway. And yes, Tuskegee will be something that we're going to keep an eye on for the trust me, this first season, men's and women's, we're definitely going to be keeping up on both sides with Coach Tarpley and Coach Stevens and get the lowdown about everything that's going on over there. Morning, Allison. Morning, David. Morning, Bam. And morning to everybody who has been dialing in this morning. Okay. Gossip, rumor, and innuendo, what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it, brought to us by our friends at Fanatis, ftz.co/soccer down here. And looking at the idea of very, very busy weekends now that the Prem is back up and running, quoting our friend Nick Alifi. Liga 245 on BN Sports, simulcast on BN Espanol. With Fanatis, you get all the BNs, which means you get French League, Portuguese League, Polish League, and Turkish League. You get those four, plus everything Middle East and North Africa. You get all of the AFCON, WAFCON, Champions League. You get the CAF. You get all the qualifiers for the World Cup tournaments. Doesn't matter what age group. It's all there at Fanatis. And the 4 European leagues that they have. You get all the BNs. You get tap-ins to Tigo Sports. You get tap-ins to CATV, which means you get Libertadores, Sudamericana. With TEC, you get the Copa Argentina. You get TVV out of Venezuela. Liga 1 Max Pro out of Peru. You get Nuestra Tele, you get a lot of the A and B divisions down in South America, all at Fanatis. Now, FS2, Canadian Premier League tonight, Atletico Ottawa and Inter Toronto. That's at 7 o'clock. USA starts your Bundesliga coverage at 2 o'clock. Bayern Munich and Stuttgart, 3 o'clock. It's Friday Night Football, Crystal Palace and Manchester City, being an Espanol simulcasting Liga. ESPN Deportes, doubleheader in La Liga. Racing Santander and Elche, Deportivo Alaves and Villarreal. Fox Deportes, the league we don't talk about, and Liga MX at 9 o'clock, Necaxa Cruz Azul. Telemundo, simulcasting the Bundesliga. ESPN Plus, simulcasting La Liga and USL League One. Charlotte Independence, AV Alta, 7 o'clock. Fox ONE, the league we don't talk about. 2 games in the Canadian Premier, and Liga MX doubleheader at 9 and 11. Fandango. Yes, you heard me right. Fandango. Simulcasting the Bundesliga at 2:25. Fox Soccer Plus, league we don't talk about. Canadian Premier League, the Super Forge match at 7. 4 games in MLS Next Pro on OneFootball, MLSNextPro.com, and the Major League Soccer YouTube channel. It is Young Reds hosting NYCFC 2, Inter Miami, and Atlanta United 2. Our coverage starts here on the network at 6:30 with the pregame show. I'll have your pregame show with Jason. Jason will have the call, and I'll have the halftime show with you as well. And remember, must win for Atlanta United 2. They got to keep the beat to stay up to the task in the Eastern Conference. If they win temporarily, they could be as high as 4th. Colorado Rapids, Ventura County, St. Louis City 2, and North Texas in the Western Conference. Paramount Plus, Scottish Championship at 2:30, Serie A 2:45, Wrexham, Birmingham City at 3 o'clock. Peacock simulcasting the Bundesliga. Veeks has your Argentina LPF action, 6 and 8:30. You also can get that in Fanatis. Liga MX doubleheader, 9 and 11. Women's side, DAZN USA Frauen Bundesliga, 12:30. NWSL Plus, San Diego Racing Louisville. Cambridge Super League kicks in. Fort Lauderdale United Brooklyn, that's at 7:30. Amazon Prime, Gotham and Thorns is at 8. Veeks has Liga MX Femenil at Toluca and Leon. And then tomorrow it is Be In with Liga and the Primera Liga in Portugal. CBS Sports Network EFL Championship, Serie A, Liga MX. NBC Premier League, 12:30, Spurs and Newcastle. NBCSN, Bournemouth and Everton at 10. USA doubleheader, Liverpool, Nottingham Forest, Coventry City, Hull City. That's really a promotion relegation 6-pointer this early. Bundesliga, 12:30, Borussia Dortmund and Hamburger. BN Espanol simulcasting Liga and Portugal. ESPN Deportes, triple header, La Liga. Fox Deportes, the league we don't talk about. Telemundo, Bundesliga, 12:30, and Serie A, 2:45. TUDN Sábado Gigante, 7, 9:05, and 11:10. Universo simulcasting your triple header, 7:30, 10, and 12:30. Univision simulcasting your triple header, Liga MX. Apple TV, all the matches, starting with Seattle hosting Chicago at 4:30, Atlanta United, Charlotte at 7:30. If you missed it, we caught up with Will Pelagic, the play-by-play voice for Charlotte. That is on the network. You can go back and listen to that. We had Oppo research earlier this week. Golazo Network, EFL Championship, doubleheader, Serie A, doubleheader, USL Championship, doubleheader, dayside, nightside. ESPN Plus, La Liga, Eredivisie, Segunda División with Las Palmas and Real Oviedo, USL Championship, 3, 6, 9, 10 matches there. USL League One, 6 matches there. Fandango has 5 Bundesliga matches available. Fox O&E, the league we don't talk about in the Canadian Premier League. Fox Soccer Plus, the league we don't talk about, Canadian Premier League. One football, MLSNextPro.com. 2 matches, Chattanooga, Carolina Core, Connecticut FC, the Coy Wolves, and Red Bulls 2. MLS Next Pro is also now adjusting their schedule to go with Major League Soccer. So they're going to have a sprint season as well after this season. Then they're going to go with the split year. They're going to start it in the calendar year. They're going to take a winter break and then come back in January. So their 26, 28-game schedule, they're going to have the sprint season coming up just like Major League Soccer. Then they're going to flip their schedule and reorient it to where they start in the fall. Then they're going to take a winter break and come back in the winter and finish up. So that's going to start this upcoming calendar year as well. Paramount Plus, 6 matches in the championship, League One. The team that I don't talk about or mention by name is hosting Leicester City. League Two has a match at 10, 4 matches available, Serie A, 2 in USL Championship. Peacock has all 5 matches in the Bundesliga. Triple header available, Serie A. Tubi has the Ekstraklasa, the Polish league, which you can get on Fanatis to be in, and Liga at 2:45. VEEX, 5 matches available in Argentina, 1 match available Liga MX. Women's side, NWSL doubleheader, 6:30 and 8:45. Fox Deportes, Liga MX Femenil, late night Juarez and Cruz Azul. ESPN Plus, the Northern Super League at 6 o'clock. Fox O&E, triple header, Liga MX Femenil, 7, 9:06, 11:10. Peacock, 3 matches available, USL Super League. NWSL Plus has the NWSL Orlando-Utah match. Tubi has Current and Courage at 6:30 on Saturday night. That's the marquee game there. Denver and Chicago at 8:45. VEEX has Liga MX Femenil, 7 o'clock. Now, Sunday, BN has Liga, Serie A on CBS Sports Network, Premier League NBCSN, Premier League USA Network, BN and Espanol simulcasting Liga, ESPN Deportes triple header, Fox Deportes Argentina, Telemundo Premier League and Serie A, TUDN double header Liga MX, Universo Bundesliga Serie A, Apple TV, Sunday Night Soccer, St. Louis City and Dallas, Golazo Network Premiership in Scotland and Serie A, ESPN Plus, Eredivisie, La Liga Segunda, Fandango has the Bundesliga, Fox O&E has Argentina, Saudi Pro, and the Canadian Premier League, Fox Soccer Plus, league we don't talk about in Canadian Premier. MLS Next Pro has 9 matches available. Where you get them, Major League Soccer YouTube channel, OneFootball, MLSNextPro.com, Paramount Plus, Scottish Premiership, Serie A, Peacock, Bundesliga, Serie A, Tubi, the Polish League doubleheader, VEEX, Argentina, 4 matches, Liga MX doubleheader, YouTube, the Brasileiro, Flamengo, Botafogo, Women, NWSL, Washington Spirit, and Bay FC at 12:30, Copa Italia Femenil, noon on FS2, Fox Deportes, Liga MX Femenil, ESPN Plus, NWSL, Washington Spirit and Bay, Northern Super League, AFC Toronto and Ottawa, Fox O&E, Copa Italia Femenil, Liga MX Femenil, Amazon Prime, Liga MX Femenil, Roku, NWSL, Seattle and Houston, VEEX, Liga MX Femenil, America and Tijuana at 5:45. So that's what to watch for the entire blanking weekend. That's a lot of stuff. So you know what? It's time to take our hydration break. Brought to us by our friends at local Vine Beer, Wine, and Liquor Stores. 2 locations here in the Atlanta area. Once again, Johns Creek and Cumberland Parkway, Cobb Parkway right there. You go in, floor to ceiling, they got stuff. So if you've got a list, you're probably going to walk out with more than what's on the list. So thanks to local Vine Beer, Wine, and Liquor Stores for being great partners here with us here starting in 2026. So everybody hydrate as we get ready for hour number 2. From the Kaiser Permanente Studios. It is SDH AM. Lori Lindsey, Kei Kamara, Javier Perez joining us here in hour number 2 to break everything down and let you know what the world is going on from a perspective from Apple TV. And Kei Kamara, let's see if he wants to talk a little Cal State Dominguez Hills Toros action. And so Kai has been put into the studio for MLS 360. We'll see how he's adjusting to that and what it's like to have more than one person talking to you at a time, folks in your ear, in addition to the folks that are there in front of you. You have to kind of split your head in half and find out, okay, here's what this guy's telling me, and here's what the table is telling me. Here's what Kevin and BWP are talking to me about, and either Dax or Sasha. I have to listen to them, and then at the same time, I have to listen to the folks in my ear to figure out, okay, go on to highlights, that kind of a thing. So we'll have that kind of conversation with Kei Kamara when he joins us at 10:15, and we will break everything down with Kei Kamara. So 10:30, once again, the director of methodology for Atlanta United, and that is Javier Perez, and we get to talk academy with him, and we get to talk a lot about what happened when Stuttgart got to visit recently, and it was a great sharing of international soccer with what Atlanta United is building. Charlotte was there, Stuttgart was there, so we get to find out what it was like to have all of those folks under one roof, how the information gets shared, what he's looking forward to most when it comes to the academy, and how he budgets his time. How he really budgets his time. That, to me, is the biggest thing. Is how do you budget your time, sir, when you have all this stuff going on? That's the biggest thing for me. So we'll find out what's up with Javier Perez coming up here in just a little bit. Now, since it is hour number 2, and we have had the hydration break, we trust that this individual has already properly hydrated. But if she wants to hydrate during the segment, that's perfectly fine. We bring in Lori Lindsey, one of the busiest people in show business. Lori Lindsey, what up?
Hey, how's it going, John? How you doing?
Try to be as busy as you. Do you know what town you are in?
I do, which is surprising, but I am in Harrison, New Jersey. One for the Gotham-Portland game tonight in WSL, and then for Red Bull versus Philadelphia tomorrow night. So I got to stay in one place. That's a win. How you doing?
Yes. Trying to sort it out with you. So, okay. So since you mentioned what you're up to tonight, so what's study hall been like getting ready for the Gotham matchup?
Well, we've actually basically been the local broadcast for Gotham this month of August because we've had, I think, our third or fourth game with them. Actually, third in August, and then we had one. We had this exact matchup in Portland at the end of July as well. So, listen, 1 versus 3. Gotham are on a 9-game win streak, number 1 right now, sitting on top of the Shield race. And Portland, sorry if there's some background noise. Seems to be a lot of honking out there, but regardless.
Did somebody call the cops on you or something?
No, no one did. I've just got to get my coffee this morning and behave myself. Not always the case, but
I'll ask Hildreth about that. Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, should be fun. You got Sophia Wilson, Pietra Torden on one side, right? These players, and they're starting to catch a little bit more momentum, even though they lost Olivia Moultrie, which is a big loss for Portland. But yeah, it should be a fun one. Really good matchup tonight.
What's it been? And Courage has been climbing the table. What's it been like to see Courage in that offense kick in?
Yeah, I mean, well done, Ashley Sanchez. That's amazing. Leads the Golden Boot race right now. Had two goals again this past Wednesday. It was the lone Wednesday game that we had. So her 2 goals beat Angel City. But yeah, I mean, credit to them because when Manaka left to go to the WSL in Europe, she was kind of like their, the main creator in the midfield for them. I actually wasn't really sure what the team was going to look like because she and Ashley Sanchez played off of one another really well. And I was, to be honest, a little concerned that that would affect Ashley Sanchez's play and just how much she was able to get on the ball. But they have really, the team has taken a step forward, but all the credit to Ashley Sanchez because she has vision, she has skills that a lot of players that you don't typically see possess, and she's just taken this team on her shoulders this season. It's been fun to watch.
Then Saturday, it is. I think you'll probably be standing, I would guess, in the same exact spot.
Exact spot. Yep.
What has gotten into Philly recently? Obviously they seem to have found themselves a little bit under Ryan Richter, and now they're taking on Red Bulls, and Red Bulls is like the Forrest Gump box of chocolates. What are you anticipating here?
Yeah, funny enough, I was Chris Whittingham and I were on this game. It was the first game back from World Cup break in Philly, late July. So we get this rematch as well. You know what it is about Philly? I think they just needed to regroup. So the World Cup break, where for some teams it's, like, goodness, we can't really get the form back that we had prior to World Cup, and other teams use it as like, all right, let's just reset and use this as a new life, or actually a new season. So I think first and foremost, that came at a really important time for Philly to be able to regroup. You get Kai Wagner, Kevin Sullivan now. Obviously, there's a ton of trust in him to play and perform, and it sounds like he's really gaining the respect consistently of his teammates. So they're allowing him to try his stuff and the pizzazz that he has in the attack. But I also think then belief and confidence obviously goes a long way. But I think outside of that too, they changed up the press a little bit in the sense that that's where they were getting beat in like defensive transition, and kind of, adjusted that in the sense that now they're able to, hold teams off a little bit better. So yeah, they've been fun. Back to their old identity, it feels like.
If you and if you've already had this part of your production call, I don't want you to divulge who these individuals are. But traditionally, when folks will watch an Apple broadcast or any broadcast, it will be the players to watch segment. It'll come up title over wide. You'll do your intros. It'll be the voices. Hey, we're doing this. You roll through the basics, and then you've got the players to watch.
Yeah.
I don't know if you figured out who those are. If you have, don't say, because if somebody's going to be watching, I want them to be surprised. But along those lines, if you and I were in the booth and I bumped Chris or told Chris to go down 2 levels just to the main level and go get some pizza or something and come back in about 5 minutes. If you and I were doing players to watch, but it's not the players to watch that are going to be on the broadcast, who would be like your B players, those second level guys, the foot soldiers for both of these teams that will not make players to watch on the broadcast, but should be players to watch on the broadcast?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, I think with these two teams, you could pick a lot of players and they still wouldn't be considered B players really, but I know what you mean in the sense of like that we don't typically. I would say Danley or Lukic in the midfield. Probably I'd go with Danley, even though my buddy Danny Higginbottom loves to choose the holding midfielders. It's a big joke between us and our group text.
Well, no, we are the Holding Midfielders Appreciation Society, so we completely understand.
Yeah. So I would, most likely probably go with Danley in the sense that, he's the one in there that's breaking up plays, but we've also seen his timing and his ability to get into the box at the right time and help create in the attack or finish plays. So I think he's instrumental. So he's who I would choose or Harriel. I mean, I think he's a big unsung hero for this Philadelphia team. He's played outside back, he's played center back, and he has production on both sides of the ball because he's good on set pieces too. And then for who would I go with? Red Bull. Well, who's really caught my eye, and he's probably been a player of the. He's probably been a player to watch already too, but Mehmeti. I think this young kid is so good. He's also a midfielder, obviously. He's played a little bit deeper prior, but it does seem like he's maybe inching his way into a little bit more of like, not an attacking role, I would say, but has more freedom to get forward. But I really like him. I mean, the way he faces, he's tidy on the ball, gets faced up, especially as a young age. I think a lot of times when the pace increases in the midfield, it's not that you panic on the ball, but you don't necessarily create the angles for yourself to be able to like get faced up and play forward. And I think he's exceptional at that.
Lori Lindsey hanging out with us with her morning cup of coffee. Kei Kamara said to join us in about 6 minutes. And we believe in hydration here. We want to have all of our guests at peak performance, no matter what time of the morning it is. How different is this Philadelphia team that we're used to the Philadelphia Union, the pressing, whether it was with Bradley Carnell in year one, Jim Curtin all the way back, Ryan Richter now. How different is this Philadelphia Union team in their approach? Is it still the I'm going to try to press you out of the building and go from there? How different is it? Is it tweaked any?
I mean, I actually no, they're still going to press. They still want to be direct and get forward as quickly as possible. So I feel like there is a lot of similarities. I was just saying, like, it's more about going together and being like a collective unit when they go, because that's what was causing them some issues. One, they weren't finishing plays, right? So then it's like a natural decline in confidence. But I think they were getting beat a lot of times when the first line was hard to press, and then there was just too many gaps. And at that point in time, you're just chasing the opposition. So I would say as a collective, they've gotten much better. I also think Kai Wagner is a big piece to that, because obviously he got back in at the exact right time after the World Cup break. And his leader, and even though we might not hear about this a lot, I'm be surprised if this isn't the case, but his leadership, his ability to help adjust the press in real time, I think is something that's probably missing in that first part of the season. They needed some just like more experience, a vocal leader in that regard. And I think he has a ability to do that from the back line. So I'm sure that's helped too. But no, they're still going to smother. I think they're still excellent in the sense that once they do lock you in, they make it really difficult. Rest defense, if that's what you want to call it, like behind the ball, right? They make it difficult for teams to be able to get out. And I think they just got back to being focused in that and making sure it's a unit and it's cohesive.
With Red Bulls, I know that folks were freaking out a little bit early in the year when Michael Bradley started a lot of the baby bowls, and it was like, well, no, he actually coached them last year. He knows what he's getting with them. That's he did this. And it looked like they kind of hit a wall early. It's like, we actually are playing here in Major League Soccer, all the young guys. But then they seem to have navigated through that. And so the sine wave that is the season with the Red Bulls, it looks like they've kind of reoriented. What have you seen with what Michael Bradley's done with this young group?
Yeah, I mean, I think anytime that's the biggest thing. When you talk with Ryan Richter about it too, with like Kevin Sullivan, I mean, Sullivan's still a young player. He's still making his way back completely from his ACL, but some of these other players too, Westfield for Philadelphia. But I say that because we were actually just having this conversation yesterday with him about, first and foremost, it's about giving these young players opportunity. And then how do you grow within that when you do get those minutes? So I feel the same about Mehmeti and Julian Hall, these players that are getting these minutes. It's about them, you having confidence in them as a coaching staff and an organization, and then just allowing them to work through some of the highs and lows. And I agree with you. I think that they, to be able to perform and do what they're doing, I do feel like right now they're in an interesting spot. Like one of the things that Michael Bradley was saying was, after the World Cup break too, it was like, we just want to continue to replicate what we did the first part, because they were in a good position. They still very much are, but I feel like in terms of results a little bit recently, they've declined. So it's just about getting back on track. But I mean, listen, the biggest thing is these guys are performing. So it's not like, hey, we're just putting you on the field to give you opportunity. They're actually getting an opportunity. They're taking those opportunities, and the results are showing in the sense that they're putting in good performances individually.
Lori Lindsey, busy in the swamps of Jersey this weekend, standing in the exact same spot back-to-back days, Friday with the NWSL, Saturday with Major League Soccer. This is the first time that we've had you on since a particular announcement happened, and I wanted to get your thoughts on JP Della Camera. And, obviously JP is not going to be doing any more World Cups and things like that, still going to be navigating the play-by-play booth. I wanted to ask you, considering you and JP have been paired a lot, what was the first lesson in broadcasting that JP taught you or that you learned from him that has stuck with you the longest?
Oh, goodness. I was just texting him, him, and Sharni Yerke, who's a longtime producer for both NWSL and MLS, and she was with us during the World Cup. She's the one that traveled with us through the stadium, so the three of us were together, and so we have a group message. And he's way funnier than a lot of people I think actually know, and so he's up for a joke. But I would say, I'm trying to think if I remember a first thing, because the thing about the thing about JP is I don't feel like he just instills wisdom. He just says some things every once in a while, and you're just like, but I would say the biggest thing about JP is his calmness. He is prepared and he is so ready to go when that whistle blows. And prior to, right? Like the 2 hours were there stuff. But there is something about being able to channel energy in like the biggest moments where, like, you know, if you're excited, if you're pumped up, that affects everything. That affects your voice. That affects how the cadence, the pacing of how you speak during a broadcast. And he's exceptional with that. He just is like so in tune with like what's happening. He's taking it all in. And I've really just been able to, I'll just watch. He's not always saying stuff. I mean, he's always, if you want feedback, he'll give the feedback, right? But it's more so just about watching how he approaches everything, especially with the longevity of his career. And I think that's the biggest takeaway for me is like, yep, take some deep breaths. Here we go. And then that just sets the tone for everything in terms of like the calmness within, and then the excitement can be brought to the viewer because there's a control, right? In that sense.
And I mean, look, we even got the chance to see him call hockey when.
Totally. He tells me those stories. Yeah. Yes.
The Atlanta Thrashers when he was here, and we got to share in that hockeyness. But there's always this part of me that always sticks. I always am thinking that. I'm always thinking John Paul Della Camera and Ty Keogh. Literally, that was my first exposure, was the MISL, and so I'm just waiting for that run-on sentence to happen at some point.
It's amazing.
Yeah, literally, because I'm 704 years old, and that was the first reference and the first time that I got to the JP Della Camera. Have fantastic calls. Continue your hydration. Go get some breakfast. Go get a workout, and we will catch up with you on the flip side. You know that this door is open on Fridays. If you want to vent your spleen and you're like, I got to get something off my chest.
Yeah.
You know, you can dial in anytime. Go get them, and we'll catch you soon, Lori.
Yes, thanks for having me, and I look forward to coming back on.
You got it. There she goes.
Yeah.
Lori Lindsey in the swamps of Jersey, 2 straight days. And so she's got NWSL tonight, Major League Soccer tomorrow. Swear to God, the busiest person in show business. I'd love to know how many miles she has, if she's like silver or gold medallion or whatever. Platinum. She's probably like uber platinum medallion because of all the miles that she has put in this year, every year. I'd love to know how many days she has matches. See, this is I don't know if she's got this on a spreadsheet or if she's going to have somebody do it for her. How many matches she calls, how many different leagues she's called, and how many miles she's gotten on her plane. Can she get on first if she wants to? It's like miles and points. Got to find this out. And how many matches she calls on average in a calendar year, because we didn't even get into Leagues Cup. She called the Toluca match on Leagues Cup. She had that this week. So she literally one of the busiest people in show business, Lori Lindsey. And so it's great to catch up with her and find out what is going on in the world of Lori Lindsey. And yeah, like I said, she's all over the place, absolutely all over the place. And it'll be great to continue to have her dial in here for the remainder of the season and find out what's going on. So one guest down, one to go. Kei Kamara set to join us when he gets to link in here today. And Javier Perez is going to be joining us at 10:30, and we'll break everything down with him when it comes to Atlanta United. We'll get a good 15 minutes in with Javier and find out what's going on when it comes to the academy and all the younger groups and how they're continuing to grow and evolve as we go here this morning. So this is SDH AM. John here, you there. Thanks for coming by as you always do. When we get into all of the, the gossip and the who's going where and who's doing what and all the things and getting you ready for anything and everything there's a lot to get into. So looking at a couple of folks, so it looks like West Brom is in a deal with up to £7.6 million as it looks like, and this is just me grabbing headlines quickly here. Manchester United's Toby Collier joining West Brom in a transfer worth an initial £3 million, but could go up to 7.6 if certain performance metrics are met. There is that one. And let's see what else is up today this morning. What am I missing here? Let's see. Forecasts and everything. United are eyeing Alexander Sorloth in a late transfer swoop. So keep an eye on all of that. Baleba needs another 2 to 3 weeks before his Manchester United debut. Ruben Amorim says that Rafa Leao is free to leave Inter Milan amid talks with Aston Villa. Inter Miami, see, we haven't even gotten into this, and I'll get into this with Kei Kamara. they named Kili Gonzalez as their new coach, replacing Guillermo Hoyos. And he is the third coach this season. So we've gone from Mascherano to Hoyos, who has to serve a one-game suspension for violation of the timeliness policy when it comes to folks wandering in to, you got to be on the field, be ready to go at a certain time. And so today, finally, you end up with literally on his way out the door, allegedly. He gets a one-game suspension. I think he's serving that today or this weekend because Kili Gonzalez has to have all of his paperwork ready to go so he can take over. But it looks like Hoyos is going to be serving that one-match suspension for violating the timeliness policy this weekend. And then Kili Gonzalez is set to come in to be the new head coach for Messi and friends. Rodri debuted with Barca. Julian Alvarez is not going to play versus Sevilla. And we mentioned yesterday the idea of the $163 million deal for Bradley Barcola. That is, that's what you're staring at there. Europa League draw is set to happen as well. And so, okay, now it's time. We get to talk Cal State Dominguez Hills Toros soccer. And he's already smiling about it because that was such a load up. That was a loaded question. Kei Kamara, what is up, dude?
Cal State Dominguez Hills soccer, huh? I love that.
Oh yeah, that was a slam dunk, man. As someone who was born in Lakewood, at Lakewood General Hospital off the 91 freeway, the single level with the neon sign, I had to bring up Cal State Dominguez Hills. I probably, if in another life, I probably would have gone to Fullerton and tried to catch on with the baseball team and be a left-handed reliever with Augie Garrido. But literally Fullerton with me, and I remember football at Fullerton. That's how old I am. But yeah, when I get to drop a Cal State Dominguez Hills reference, I'm not going to sit there and complain about it.
That's beautiful. Thanks, John.
Welcome to the morning show.
Thank you. I mean, it's the first time really that ever in my whole playing career, even though now I'm not playing anymore, that I started something and somebody dropped a Cal State Dominguez Hills. So it made, it gave me warm hearts. It takes me back. And I have to say, man, college was so awesome. I went to a Cal State Dominguez Hills Division II school when I grew up around everybody else that went to UCLA and Cal. And we played, in this PDL team together, and me just wishing that I went to big schools like them. And finally, I had a chance to transfer. And then I came back to Cal State Dominguez Hills to the coach's office, and I said, I'm not going. He's like, why? I said, I feel more like a family here. Everywhere I went to, they BS'd me. They told me so much that they're going to do this for me and this for me. You never have said that. You just let me be me. So I was like, I just stayed.
Wow. Very cool. Now that you are no longer playing, you're on a different team. They have thrown you into the hottest seat known to mankind. They put you at the adult table and they put you in the middle, man. You got to put up with Egan and BWP and Sash and whomever. You're like center. You're the striker on that table now.
Legends. Sash, actually, and you mentioned, so that team that I told you, the PDL team, Sasha was part of that team. So I was looking at all these guys playing for the U.S., under 20s, like under 18s, like amazing. But being with the Apple crew, yes, it's different. Like I've been watching these guys, and usually I have to say I visualize myself being with them until I was finally with them last week, and I was like, guys, I'm a little nervous. You guys know MLS a lot more than I do now, but and BWP, I was always like, come on, Brad, stop scoring so many goals. You're getting too close to me, I'm jealous. You're playing for New York Red Bull, just one team. I keep traveling to like a million teams, and you keep scoring goals. So yeah, it's great to be with that Apple crew right now.
Do you have at least one jersey or piece of clothing from every team that you were a part of in Major League Soccer?
Currently not the one I'm wearing, but yes, I do. I love collections, and what the crazy thing is when I play against because I'm on one team that I move, so every team I play against, almost every game, I have to jersey swap with some guys, and my equipment managers are always coming up to me, Kai, you're down to 2 jerseys, you're down to this jersey. So, but I do keep I have suitcases, so when you go on the team, you get a bag. when you first join a team with all the team gear. So I have down in my basement. Sorry, I can't take a tour with you. I have a bag from every team, and I store all those things in them.
That's crazy. I wanted to ask, really quickly, because it's a new thing for you, and being there at the table. Yeah, you're shooting the breeze with everybody. You're bringing your knowledge in, but it's a different thing now, where you've got to kind of cut your head in half, where you've got to listen to what's going on in your ear, where they're telling you where to go, and then you got to listen to what's going on at the table. How difficult is it for you to get this skill set of cutting your head in half so you're listening to two conversations at once?
John, it's one, it's great. It's great to see the art of this side of entertainment for me, but it was something I was always fascinated about when I moved from Sierra Leone and grew up in LA. Again, Los Angeles is Hollywood, so my cousins were in the movie Amistad, the movie about slavery.
Really?
Yeah, my cousin, my uncles, and all of them. So they were working on Amistad too, and that's when I started feeling like, what, I want to be in the movie too. So I started becoming so fascinated about, being in movies and things. So that was always a dream, that I wanted to be an actor. So in 2015, I started taking acting classes when I returned back to the U.S. after my stint in England. So I started doing that. So, getting more comfortable. But MLS has done something good for me throughout my career. They've always invited me to media days. They've always invited me to do little, commercials, little videos. So it made me comfortable a lot more. And finally, to be in this part of the spectrum, to hang out with these guys in studios and having the producers in your ears and telling you what to do. I think the first one, I have to be completely honest, is when you get a countdown and you're just delivering a message, and then somebody's saying, 10 seconds to break. Yeah. And I'm like, how do I go fast, really fast? Because I need to get this in. So, but it's different, but hopefully, I'll keep training and keep getting used to it. Listen to the producers more as when you listen to your coaches on the field. So, but it's good. It's something different, but I really enjoy the storytelling of things, and more of the sport that I know, that I grew up with. So to be able to be out there and tell stories, but now also doing homework, the research and all that, to knowing all these things, it's really fun.
Another couple of minutes here with Kei Kamara, Javier Perez, Director of Methodology for Atlanta United, joining us at the bottom of the hour. So when it comes to learning, are you more of a visual learner as a TV personality, or do you need to have things on pieces of paper to sit there and sift through and highlight and that kind of stuff?
A little bit of both. I think I'm a visual obviously helps so much more, since I've been around the game for so long, and those are the things, we get shown videos, we get shown plays, and I guess we still get scripts, and they say go out there and perform it on the field. But at the same time, now with this part, doing stuff, there has to be a lot more into it, a lot more documentations, because of players and stats and those kind of things that you want to make sure that I'm delivering. If I say Messi has scored 13 goals and Inter Miami is have 40 goals against already, and it's not good, I'm not going to talk bad about Atlanta right now, since I want to grow some audience in Atlanta.
It's all good, dude. They won 3 in a row.
Is doing well.
They won 3 in a row, 2-1. That means they won the first set 6-3, and they got Charlotte coming into town. It's all good.
Yes, no, it's great. But yes, definitely, I think I do a little bit of both, and I enjoy that part, to actually do the research and have some things in front of me. But again, being part of soccer for 2 decades, 20 years of playing professionally, for me, the visual, when I see things and I see plays, and I did my coaching license, I see videos, I can analyze those things also.
You realize, of course, that now that you are in, you know how to get in. And if you're ever losing your mind over a topic on a Friday in this hour, It is literally an open door for everybody that comes in. I had Lindsey on before you. Devin Kerr comes in. He'll crash from
I love Lauren.
Yeah,
Oh, she's awesome.
And so, yeah, Lori came in and she brought her cup of coffee. Devin Kerr comes in. He'll usually crash from a Sbarro in an airport someplace. Literally, if anybody has anything on their mind that they want to vent their spleen about, they can come in here and just crash the party in the final hour of the week, because that's what it is. We're getting everybody ready for the weekend. And if you've got something that's on your mind, you got to sit there and it's like, I got to get this off my chest. Oh, I know what I can do. I've got the garage door opener. I know where Nelson is. I can go and talk to him. Great to see you, first and foremost.
You.
Go Toros. And like I said, you can crash anytime, and that we'll be knocking on your door a lot and watching. Can't wait to see you completely and totally take everybody to school there at the table on MLS 360. Congratulations.
Not sure it's going to happen, but I appreciate you. And I have one question for you before I go.
Yeah.
How many scarves do you have up?
9 gazillion.
What was your first follow-up? What was your first scarf? Yes.
Wow, the first scarf. Oh, my God. Wow, that's a hell of a question. I don't remember. That's a tough one. But I will say this. Pier 1 Imports, the triple shower rack. The triple shower rack helps out with the doors. That's what happens here. So the triple rack for the shower towels, that's here and here on the doors. The boss, she had to reinforce the curtains behind me because I had too many winter scarves on it.
Okay.
And so because I had too many winter scarves, and so it was dropping it had to pull it out of the wall. And so she had to reinforce the curtain rods back here for everything there. I know what my first one was. My first one was one of our original scarves here at the network. That was one of my first ones because we wanted to do that kind of thing for promotions and such. So that was my first one. One of the SDH scarves. And above this, out of the shot, I have a train track that's about a foot down from the ceiling, and it's got about 275 hats on it because I've got about 450, and I can peer into them. And here, let me show you real quick. Let me do that. So that's what that looks like. That's on 3 of the 4 walls here in the office.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Yes, that's what it looks like. And I just completely and totally just break everything. That's good. All right. So
sorry about that. It's totally my fault.
No, it's all good, Kai. It's all good. I can't thank you enough for doing
Kai.
this. And you come in here and crash at any time. It's always great to see you, my friend.
Thank you.
There he goes. Be safe and go kick.
That's it. Thanks, bud.
All right, there goes Kei Kamara. And he's on desk at MLS 360. And so that's great to see him. All right, so I've adjusted that. Now it's time for me, now that I've adjusted the camera, and I think it hasn't completely and totally fallen off, but I think it's about to again. John has broken his equipment, so he's going to sit up straight. All right, so here we go. I'm 2 minutes late for Javier Perez, so that's on me. And it is a great opportunity for us to catch up and find out what's going on with anything and everything going on with Atlanta United. And we get to find out literally with everything going on, and there's a lot going on. It has to do with the academy side of things. It has to do with all of the stuff that you get to see on the streams on ATLUTD.com. And it's an opportunity for us to kind of let you know what's going on with anything and everything that is attached to all of the growth that we like to discuss here on a regular basis. And so for us, we get to ask about the U16s. We get to ask about MLS Next. We get to ask about what it's like to have folks when they come in and visit. And so when we get to bring in the director of methodology for Atlanta United, Javier Perez, and we get to find out what's going on with those age groups, for us, it's a way to kind of pull back the curtain a little bit and find out, okay, here's the deal with this age group and what it means, because the educational aspect is attached to it, and it is going to be one of those things that's going on, and it's an opportunity for a lot of folks that are that may not necessarily get the chance to see all of the U18, the U16, and all that kind of stuff. And the U16 class is getting a lot of press and a lot of attention when it comes to anything and everything that's there. And so this is our chance to kind of pull back the curtain a little bit. Yeah, one of the greatest LAFC players. Bam, wow, Bam you're hanging up with us late. Bam, you're normally in bed, but I guess it's kind of heading into a weekend for you. But no, that was really cool to catch up with Kei. But it's an opportunity for us to kind of pull back the curtain. And, when Javier comes in and he comes and visits us fairly regularly, it's cool to get the feedback from all of you about, okay, we didn't know this, we didn't know this, we didn't know this, we didn't know this. And so to kind of share in that educational aspect of it all, that to me is the key, one of the keys when Javier gets to come in and visit, because we get to kind of find out, okay, what is it that when it comes to the methodology of Atlanta United and how it goes across all of the different age groups and all the different academy teams, what's it like to see it implemented? And what's it like to have it go, okay, so where is it in this grouping? Where is it in this grouping? Where does this group need to kind of catch up in its idea of, okay, where are we on the timeline of learning what the Atlanta United way is? Those kinds of things. And so it's really, it's interesting to be able to have these kinds of discussions and let everybody know, okay, Academy's coming up. Here's the deal. And here's what you need to look out for. So when there's a tournament that is not, or there aren't any matchups at the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta training ground that you get to listen to Maddie or me or Jason or the Hoff call these matches. And Greg Garza has been a part of it too, and Brad at times, to be able to open these doors where literally, if you look at the 2010s, it's a good chance that a handful of those players on the U16s will be a part of the pathway. And you find out about them now, then you end up learning more about them as you go. Oh, yeah, I saw them when they were U16s, and then they were 17s, and then they were 18s, and then they were with Atlanta United 2. Or they made the jump from 16 to 2 and whatever. So to be able to catch up with Javier and find out, okay, here's what is going on with them, learn about them now. And like I said, that's been our approach here for a while, is when you learn about these players now, whether it's the twos or through the academy process and seeing those matches that are broadcast, it gives you that sense of familiarity about all of these homegrowns and all of these players that want to be a part of what Atlanta United is building. And so that for us as a part of our, I'm not going to say storytelling because it's a little bit more than that, but it's about our own education when it comes to what Atlanta United is bringing to the table, and then what they are doing when it comes to all of their academy teams and such. It's just a part of the process. It's a part of our news gathering, and it's a part of the educational process when it comes to Atlanta United. So that's why we do what we do in these kinds of situations where, we get to talk to Javier about everything going on and how it applies across the board. Because, some groups might catch on a little quicker, and some folks might be understanding the Atlanta United way and understanding, okay, here's how you want things done, and here's what what the front office is looking for in these individuals, those kinds of things. So it's a deeper conversation than folks might be used to having. But we think, and we've always thought that it is a vital part of the conversation when it comes to understanding where Atlanta United is as an organization. When it comes to, because it's not just the first team, and it's not just the twos. You have all of the, and you might hear something going on with an academy team here, an academy team there. And so when we get to bring Javier on, it's an opportunity for us to let everybody else know what's going on when it comes to all of these other pieces that make up Atlanta United. And so it's part of a deeper conversation, and we like to have those deeper conversations when they are when we're given the chance to have these conversations. With the academy coming up here in just a little bit, then it's like I said, it's an opportunity for us to share what's going on and kind of update you, and update us too when it comes to our paperwork and everything. So we get to find out where everything stands and the growth of everything as it continues to push its way forward. So And by the way, Javier, and I know that you probably couldn't have guessed this, but Javier's one of the busiest men in show business. He really is. We got a lot of busy folks. Kei Kamara, very, very busy, but now he's learning what life is like at the adult table at MLS 360. Lori Lindsey, literally calling an NWSL match tonight. She's calling the MLS match in the same building, standing in the exact same spot on Saturday night, and then catching up with our college coaches, Matt Tarpley from Tuskegee and Doc Mike from Georgia Gwinnett, and finding out, since they're in the rhythm of their seasons, what it's like on the men's side at Tuskegee as they get ready to hop on a bus and head to Jackson, Tennessee. And then at the same time, also catching up with GGC as they're getting ready to play William Carey and find out what's going on there with them. You played the number 13 team in the country. Now you're playing the number 9 team in the country this weekend. So that's been the guest rotation so far. And now we get to catch up with one of the busiest men on this or any other planet. I don't know if he gets the chance to go to like Neptune or Saturn to recruit kids, but I know that if he had the opportunity to, he would. Director of Methodology for Atlanta United, Javier Perez, joining us. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How you doing, John? And I have to say my apologies because it's been a confusion on how we were going to join you, with our link. So apologies for the delay.
No worries. Are you giving away any secrets with all of those plays over your shoulder? Is that okay? Or do we need to get like a dark curtain or something?
Look, I always say the same thing. You can have all the papers, all the X's and O's, but at the end of the day, you have to know how to put it together. So that's the true secret. The staff, the players, how we work together.
And there are like 98 questions that I have. Let me start with this one. Most recently, you got to share the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta training ground with both domestic and international teams and the younger players with Atlanta United. What was it like to have folks from Germany coming to visit to find out what life is like up there?
Yeah, so we had, now we are in pre-season and we had a very, very busy week and weekend. And just for reference, on Friday, we finished around 9 p.m. On Saturday, we had our second team playing, and then in the afternoon, we had games as well. I got home at 9 p.m., and then Sunday, the first team was playing. I got home at 11 p.m., but my point is that we have very meaningful experiences for our younger players. Our 13s and 14s, they were in the AFC Lightning tournament. The 15s, they were coming back from England, where they have a very successful trip, beating teams like Arsenal, Newcastle, and then we have the 16s hosting the Stuttgart team. They came here in what we call cultural week, where they have the opportunity to go to school together, change experiences not only on the field but off the field as well, which I think is very important.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I speak in first person, because that was the way I learned myself, is how you go and you give exposure to these younger athletes to soccer and life in general in other world-leading nations in soccer, So that's why our U14s, they are currently in the Netherlands. They are playing there in their group. They are playing today, actually, Chelsea, Borussia Dortmund, and Bruges. And then the U15s, they just were in England. And for the U16s, we didn't have a trip, so we invited Stuttgart, and that was a very productive week for us. And it ended up on that broadcast game on Sunday morning, and we beat Stuttgart 3-1, which is really good because this is a club with a lot of history, one of the biggest clubs in Germany and in Europe. They are going to be in Champions League playing next year, their senior team. And they played the last two German Cup finals. They won one, they lost another one. So it's a strong reference in Europe, you know. So that was a great experience for us. So, and this weekend we have our U16s and 18s in a few minutes heading to Nashville to play there a tournament. So we have a very meaningful, busy preseason schedule, and all that with the intention to prepare our players the best way possible to be competitive during the season. As you know, we have the number one ranking by MLS Next in out of 152 clubs in US and Canada, which is something remarkable. And all these experiences we are very grateful to have a club that supports the youth development. We see that now, how that trickle effect goes into the second team. Now we have the top goal scorer in the league, Arif Kovac, with 18 goals. And with four games left for the end of the season, he's just 4 goals shy from the all-time record in the league, you know. We had 6 debuts this year. We had 2 2009s and 4 2010s. So in the last game, we had the debut of Josh Kwan. And this weekend, and starting Amir Henry, another academy project. And in this game that we play tonight with the second team against Inter Miami, we have another 2010 that is gonna start tonight in the team, which is Gonzalo Riveras. So I'm talking about the trickle effect, how that affects the first team. So we have this weekend 2 players from the second team into the first team. One of them is Andrew Jardines, who just recently, last week, signed a choose contract. So that's very important for us because obviously a player that just signed and is being called to be with the first team is a huge privilege and a testimony of what Coach Tata Martino is also implementing in the first team, you know. So he's bringing a lot of experienced players, but at the same time, he's keeping the door open for the young prospects at the club. And the other one is Enzo Doblo, the winger. So these 2, they are going to be there as 2 new second team players that they're going to be with the first team. And obviously, Cooper has been playing during the whole season. But the other one that is going to be there as well, that is being consistently during the with the Atlanta United 2, is Adrian Hill. So a number of younger players that they are progressing into the first team. And this is very exciting for us.
First off, I know you're incredibly busy. How many more minutes do I have you before you need to get back to work?
Look, I don't like to call it work because when here I'm working, for instance, right? But when I get up in the morning, I never have the impression to go to work. I do what I love, and I think I'm very privileged because of that. And then coming to your point that going back to work, I'm busy, but once I have my attention on something, all my full senses are in that, you know. So right now I'm here with you, and I'm fully focused on providing you with the best and biggest update of the academy and the youth development second team.
And I always enjoy our conversations when we get to educate the audience about everything that's going on from top down or bottom up. How do you keep track of everything? Because you said you've got teams in the Netherlands, teams coming from England. You hosted a cultural week. You've got the twos, and they're in Fort Lauderdale, and obviously keeping an eye on the first team. How do you, and how many folks are on the staff that help you keep track of everything when it comes to watching and getting information and understanding how they're integrating and how they're becoming what you want in the Atlanta United way? How do you keep track of all this stuff?
That's a great question. And look, the short answer is this wouldn't be possible if I didn't have an amazing team behind me, and they are extremely dedicated. They are my eyes and ears everywhere where the teams go, and for the most part, you try to think how to coordinate, how you can be more effective. And for me, what I found out is when I was traveling, it was taking a lot of energy for me to come back. So I try to stay here, centralized in Atlanta, where it gives me the opportunity to have a more awareness on the experiences of the players, except when we have the big events, meaning the playoffs, the GA Cups, the Fest, the Flex, all these events. I obviously travel with the teams because that's where we see how the teams are performing. We get the biggest evaluation at that moment in time. But for the most part, I try to be logistically focused here, where I can have a more coordinative role, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. No, because if you are, say, the center of the wheel, because with a wheel, there's always the hub, and then there are those spokes that get to the tread. If you're in the middle of it all, then you catch all of the information coming from all of the different edges, and you get to be that central point that can assimilate all the information and all the intel that you and your staff get. No, it makes complete and total sense to be anchored in one spot so you can get everything coming to you instead of being detached. And it's like, well, I'm out of town, and then you kind of lose information that you could be getting otherwise. I get that completely.
But it's really interesting, right? Because since the time I've been here, I've been here for a little bit longer than 2 years. And the time I've been here, I went through different stages that I kind of organized them in 6 months blocks. And now I'm at a stage where I think the staff and myself, we have a very good understanding of each other. And while before I have to have a lot of meetings, now is more informal, and more organic, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So every moment requires something different. What is important is for you to understand that you are always on the move and improving. You cannot just sit down and relax. You need always to look, what is the next thing that I'm going to do so I can stay ahead of the game, ahead of everybody else,
How do you do that and not put too much pressure on yourself and the staff to continue to have everyone improve as they grow older and go from one section of the academy to the next? How do you keep that from becoming too much pressure on you to create?
What a great question, because it's actually something that I've been really focused on, Number one, to give the staff the space that they need to work, mm-hmm. Give them ownership of what they are working on and developing. And then that's number one. Number two, creating a path for them. That means everybody wants to get better. Everybody wants to get prized and rewarded. how we create a path to promote their careers, which we did in many of them, and many others, they are coming as well. And number 3, and probably this is the conundrum that every organization tries to do, how to prevent burnout. And I've been very focused on this one because we are in a very demanding department, right? And it's interesting because sometimes you get some of the folks here in the organization, they get you in meetings on Monday. And you are, well, yes, Monday, I understand, for admin staff is Monday to Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday you are home, right? Enjoying the families, but it's not our case. And how you balance that out, right? And you are working maybe Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Now you have a meeting schedule on Monday. In my case, it's a little bit different because I'm one of the leaders in the organization. But how I prevent that with the staff in my department. So the way I do it is providing more time off when is allowed to do that, and let's say off season, right? Or in between the spring and the spring and the fall, and between the fall and the spring, right? So we have a little bit of a larger space. Thanksgiving period is a little bit larger, right? So that's the trade-off. They understand that we have probably to work Saturday and Sunday, or maybe we have a day off, but then we have a longer time off, so we can recover. For the staff, unconventional days off, right? So if we are working during the weekend, how I can take 1-2 days off during the week, it's not ideal, but everybody understands that while we are in season, we have to make these kind of compromises.
Is Atlanta United a surprise on the world stage? Because you look at what they did at MLS Next with the deep runs there chasing after championships. When they go and they knock off teams in the U13, U14, U15s, when they're in England, they're overseas. Is Atlanta United a surprise to the world stage with what they're accomplishing, or is Atlanta United and understood when they walk in the door internationally? Everybody's like, oh, Chelsea sees the grid. Oh, Atlanta United's coming. Okay, we know that we're up against something here. How is Atlanta United's academy received on the world stage?
That's a great question because I think it's perceived in Europe, as you know, they don't care much about soccer in America, right?
No.
But they start to see certain things. And when we have recently the U15s going to England, and we beat Arsenal 4-0. And Arsenal mentioned that this is the best American team that they've seen over there.
Really?
And now we have our U14s, which is a strong generation of players going and playing in the Netherlands, right? So I think we are earning some respect in the whole continent. I don't think it's spread to the fan base, but it's definitely within the circles of soccer. Is definitely now respected because I get the phone calls from there, right? When we have the teams competing. So the important part is not doing that just once.
Yeah.
The important part is to do that consistently. And as you know, when I was working in Real Madrid, everybody is asking me what it makes different this club, right? And I said, well, look, there are players that they are changing constantly, but the essence doesn't change, right? So the way you recruit your players and staff is very important. but now how that stays in the organization and how you make that a constant, And for a club as young as ours, is not something easy to change or easy to build, I would say. But we are now in that cycle of building consecutive or consistent success. And that's what it makes the mark and the respect in Europe and all the tournaments that we are going to.
And I'm going to put a bookmark there because you open like 98 other doors for questions later on. But this means that you have to come back and we have to have more conversations and we get to talk about this even more. I cannot thank you enough for opening the door as you always do. And you've been great about this. And I come knocking on your door. You're like, yeah, we'll get it done. I can't thank you enough for this education that you always bring when you come here. And I will see you Saturday. Yes, you coming?
Absolutely, I'll be there. And one last point.
Yeah.
All the invites for the U.S. national teams are coming now, and we are proud of having representation in every age group of the U.S. national team youth teams. We had 2 call-ups for the U15s. We had another call-up for the U16. We had 3 call-ups for the U17, and just keep going, So I think is something we should be proud, and I think is a testimony of what is brewing here in Atlanta.
Absolutely. And it's always great to get that information and intel from you. Javier, I cannot thank you enough for doing this, and we will see you at Mercedes-Benz this weekend, and let the education continue on our end. Looking forward to seeing you for your next visit, my friend.
Thanks, John. Have a great day.
You too. Javier Perez, Director of Methodology for Atlanta United too. And see, now the next time that Javier comes in, I've got to ask about these 6-month boxes. That's what I've got to ask about next time. Because if I had done that, we would have gone down a rabbit hole and he would have gotten in trouble with Mauricio Calabro. It's like, bro, what are you doing? You're spending an hour on the SDH network. What are you doing? I could just see Mauricio now. He's like, what are you doing? And it's like, I'm talking to Nelson. It's a morning show. They want the education. It's like, yes, that's true. But no, I can't spend an hour with Javier Perez. But anyway, like I said, it's great to open doors and great for the education and to be able to share this information. Because, okay, so let's see if I was writing it down as we were going. So here's what he said. If I wrote this down correctly. So he's got this season 6 debuts with the twos, 4 from the 2010s, 6 from the 09s. This weekend, they're top ranked of 152 clubs right now when it comes to what we're seeing with Atlanta United too. Amir Henry and Riveras are going to be a part of the twos this weekend. You'll hear from Riveras in the pregame show coming up tonight, 6:30, getting you ready for Atlanta United 2 and Inter Miami CF2. You'll hear from him tonight, and also from head coach Jose Silva and your highlights from the last match out. So Henry and Riveras are going to be a part of the lineup tonight in South Florida. Enzo Dovolo and Andrew Hardinas are going to be a part of the first team roster. They're going to get their first team STAs. That's going to happen this weekend. And obviously you add to that what we've seen from Cooper Sanchez and Adrian Gill. You've got that's attached to it. The U13s and 14s in the Netherlands. U15s took care of Arsenal and Newcastle in England. The 16s had Cultural Week with Stuttgart coming in. They hosted, and I think they're going to go and return the favor at some point. They're going to go and hang out over there. And call-ups, 2 with the U15s, 1 with the U16s, and 3 with the U17s. And by the way, the U15 and U16 girls national teams are sharing a workout window down in Fayetteville at the Arthur M. Blank National Training Center, and we'll be keeping an eye on that. So also, news and notes. We were getting into other things, but yeah, literally that was just the begin. That was just some of the highlights that we get with Javier Perez when he gets to visit us. and to find out about methodology and things like that. But no, it's always cool because it's a three-dimensional conversation, and Javier is incredibly generous with educating us when it comes to the Atlanta United way. So I give him massive kudos and credit for that, for putting up with my silly questions. Okay, round the horn. NWSL Boston Legacy looks like they're going to be playing in Pawtucket in next year, and they're going to be ready for the renovated White Stadium in 2028. Champions League draw. We were going to get into that. So, and yeah, we're going long. So here is the rundown of the good draw for Liverpool, ATLUTD Sabah FK from Azerbaijan, and Real Madrid. Barcelona, Manchester United, Villarreal, Aston Villa. League phase, you're going to get Barcelona, Manchester City, Barcelona, Como, Manchester United, Bayern Munich, PSG, Barcelona, Villarreal, Manchester United, Arsenal, and Real Madrid. So you end up with the look at things and who might be getting pretty good draws. Arsenal, Bayern Munich, Liverpool, looking at the league phase. Top 8, you're looking at pretty much the same bunch of folks. Como, they're thinking might be the wild card to get in and get into the top 8. Maybe Porto or Stuttgart, depending on the draw. Teams that might struggle, various folks are saying ATLUTD or Manchester City or Manchester United. So that's what you're kind of staring at. So you had the pots come through, and you end up with Como is going to host headliners like PSG, Manchester United visiting Barcelona. Sabah is going to host Barcelona, Borussia Dortmund, twice heading to England for Arsenal and Manchester United. Norway's Viking, Austria's Lusk make their first appearances since the introduction of the group stage or league phase. Viking is going to host Bayern. Lusk is going to host Liverpool and Porto. Bodo Glimt gets ATLUTD and Borussia Dortmund near the North Pole. 7 teams are going to play 3 matches against teams currently ranked in the world's top 10. ATLUTD, Como, Leipzig, Roma, Sabah, Sporting, and Villarreal. So that is the that is the rundown of the Champions League draw. And you figured out who your opponents were, and your opponents in Pot 1, PSG is Barcelona, Man City, Roma, Villa, Galatasaray, Villarreal, Slovan Bratislava, and Como. Then, just to give you an idea, you have Bayern with Arsenal, ATLUTD, Real Betis, Manchester United, Bodo Glimt, Lille, Slavia Prague, and Viking. So Bayern Munich might have a pretty decent run in. So that's your look at everything through Pot 1. 36-team league phase, home clashes, and it's out of control. No shock there. So that is the Champions League draw. That has officially happened, and it is good to go. Transfer talk. Let's get into that. Yes, I know we're going long. It's a Friday. So trending rumors, Arsenal renewing their interest in signing Real Madrid forward Endrick. Moved to Madrid from Palmeiras in 24 for a fee of €72 million. Spent last season on loan at Lyon, 8 goals in 21 games. His reps are open to a move. Host of Premier League clubs, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City, Manchester United have been linked. Madrid are not ready to let him go just yet. Arsenal keen to bring in a new left winger after the impending exit of Gabriel Martinelli. Endrick, Malik Fofana, Igor Paixão, Marcus Rashford on the short list. Liverpool trying to sign Ismail Assar. Initial £50 million bid rejected, according to Miguel Delaney in The Independent. Andoni Iraola wants to bring in 3 players before the deadline, 2 of them wingers, as Cody Gakpo could leave amid interest from Spurs and Manchester City. Bradley Barcola on that list. Once again, they've moved on from Yankuba Minte from Brighton. Bayern Munich asked for information on Ibrahim Mbaye from PSG, according to Nicolo Schira. Linked with a €50 million move to Liverpool, Senegalese international open to leaving this summer in search of more game time. Only made it onto the bench once in PSG's 3 competitive matches so far, has yet to get on the pitch for any minutes. Chelsea close to completing a €48 million deal. €48 million deal. Atalanta defender Honest Ahonor could loan him to a Premier League club. Joined Atalanta from Genoa last summer for €16 million, impressed in Serie A last year. Used as a left back. International debut June against Luxembourg. Scouting since signing his teammate Marco Palestra for €55 million in July. Telegraph also claims Chelsea interested in Monaco midfielder Lamine Kamara as a possible replacement for Enzo Fernandez. AC Milan have accepted a €45 million package from Galatasaray to sign Rafa Leao. Aston Villa still pushing to land him on loan with an option to sign permanently, according to David Ornstein and The Athletic. Turkish Super League side offering an annual salary of €12 million. Leao yet to decide. Real Madrid keeping an eye on AS Roma midfielder Manu Kone, considering him as an option for future transfer windows. According to AS, Los Blancos, they've been closely monitoring the 25-year-old performance, scouting him live on various occasions. Even if they have a big-name departure, Camavinga, Tchouameni being watched by Manchester United, Liverpool, and Chelsea. So we mentioned Emi Martinez. We mentioned Bradley Barcola. We mentioned Tammy Abraham yesterday. Mamadou Sarr, Chelsea, season-long loan move to Real Sociedad. Other rumors. Julian Alvarez, Arsenal refusing to give up. 4-letter paper. Team talk. Crystal Palace won't let Adam Wharton leave this transfer window despite interest from Chelsea, Manchester City, and Liverpool. Nicola Shira. €60 million deal for Gabriel Martinelli to join Al Hilal is at the final stage. Athletic, once again, Ornstein. Nottingham Forest made a £22 million offer to land Crystal Palace right back Daniel Munoz. Foot Mercato. AC Milan considering Eintracht Frankfurt winger Jean-Matteo Bahoya as an option to replace Rafa Leao if he leaves. Fabrizio Romano, Napoli have contacted Newcastle to ask about Nick Voltemod's availability on a loan deal. Matteo Moretto, Fiorentina and Como have reached a verbal agreement on a €40 million deal for striker Moise Kean. Deal for Alvaro Morata to join Leganés is in the final stages, two clubs exchanging documentation. That's also from Moretto. Florian Plettenberg, Leipzig interested in Bayer Leverkusen midfielder Robert Andrich. Nothing advanced so far. Gazzetta, Juve have offered to take it or leave it, a 2-year deal worth €3.5 million a season to Frank Kessie, who's also the topic of interest from Roma. L'Equipe, Roma haven't yet contacted Lyon about Malik Fofana, who's expected to be offloaded to compensate for them missing out on Champions League. Moretto, again, verbal agreement for AC Milan midfielder Samuel Ricci to join Como. Nicolo Shira, Bologna interested in signing Fiorentina forward Albert Gudmundsson on loan with an option to make the deal permanent. We mentioned Robinho Vaz yesterday, and it is, according to Philip Heinz, Lens want to sign RB Leipzig defender El Shaddai Bitshiabu on loan, but they'd have to make a financial concession for the deal to be completed. So that is your gossip, rumor, and innuendo from the printed variety. Let's check and see what is going on in the 280-character app. And, yeah, David, what Johannes mentioned yesterday about Stian Gregerson, yep, yeah, that's the biggest thing. You just wish that Stian could have stayed healthy a lot during this time frame. Okay, now let's see, getting into Ben Jacobs. Let's see what Ben Jacobs has because he's, like, really busy and stuff. So it is Galatasaray closing in on Rafa Leao despite a push from Villa. Galatasaray have an agreement in place with Milan worth around €50 million. Villa talks have not yet resulted in a breakthrough despite optimism yesterday. Leao is open to the move. Toby Collier, $3 million plus 4.6, and Manchester United get the 40% sell-on as he's close to joining West Brom. That's what the numbers are. They reached an agreement to sign him within the hour. It is Sheffield United confirming Ben Brereton Diaz joining on a season-long loan from Southampton. Stoke and Derby had also explored a deal. Sheffield United working on a deal to sign Joe Worrell on loan from Burnley. Nothing done yet. Preston have signed Caleb Wiley on a season-long loan. So I guess we know where we're going to be trying to track an interview down next. So, and how do we know? Because the Spud Bros jersey that has Caleb Wiley wearing it and smiling in the locker room does exist. So Caleb Wiley, season-long loan, Preston North End. Then Xabi Alonso asked why Enzo Fernandez didn't feature against Luton. Quote, I said we need the players that are in the best situation to play. We need to take everything into consideration. Players that are in a good moment and players that are not feeling that energy to play. For me, it's very important they feel this desire to play and to have good preparation, end quote. Brentford signed Alhaji Malik Diouf from West Ham, 5-year deal, £35 million plus a $5 million fee. So that is $7 million per year on the books. Monaco's Lamine Kamara, once again, we mentioned him as one to watch. Brighton's Jack Hinchelwood expected to miss around 6 weeks with an ankle injury sustained in training. Chelsea have confirmed Circle Internet Group as their principal partner and front of shirt partner, beginning with the 26-27 season. It's for one season with an option to extend. Southampton picked up James Ward-Prowse. We talked about that yesterday. Rejoined from West Ham, revealed by Alex Crook. 2-year contract, fee under £1 million. We mentioned Ben Brereton Diaz. Roma and Bologna both inquired on Watford winger Rocco Vata in the last few days. They're looking for a new attacker. We mentioned Martinelli. Al Hilal's plans to formalize the move over the weekend, agreement in principle in place. It is Getafe's Ivan Neyu could leave on loan before the end of the transfer window. Some interest in Spain. Move to LAFC is not likely. Neyu has already turned down offers from Greece and Turkey. Mamadou Sarr, we mentioned that. Real Sociedad on a season-long loan. We mentioned Kei Kamara. Enzo Fernandez update. Chelsea's position is in no direct or formal club contact yet. City sources insist a deal is progressing. Chelsea's £120 million net price no longer applies. Summer market valuations have risen, and they will evaluate a formal proposal once it arrives. Manchester City's confident on signing him, by the way. Mentioned Rafa Leao. Ipswich confirmed Ezequiel Palacios has joined from Bayer Leverkusen, 4-year deal, €22.5 million plus a $5 million fee. Now, Tom Bogert. What's up with Tom Bogert? What do we need to find out from Tom Bogert? If there's anything we need to find out from Tom Bogert. Mentioned the Edward Lewin deal yesterday. He had his first press conference with San Jose and the San Jose reporting gathering. So that was officially official. We mentioned Jaden Nelson and Dejan Joveljic. Kevin Kelsey was still on the books trying to figure out the $13 million fee. And let's see. We mentioned Rokas Pushtas. We mentioned Judas Akera. Abu Farki, we mentioned Tigres and Jaden Contreras. We mentioned that. Mentioned Vinicius Nogueira and the purple team. Holstein Kiel. Julian Hall was signed to a contract extension yesterday. Previous contract set to expire at the end of 27. Atletico de Madrid, RB Leipzig among clubs that are tracking him as a U22 deal, so it won't kill you up against the cap. Obviously, he'll be in Europe at some point, but key starter for Red Bulls until that time comes. Vancouver finalizing a deal to sign Yadali Diaby, and that comes from Santi Auna being first at Foot Mercato. Can play center forward or on the wing, 9+3 in Ligue 2 last year, 2 goals in 3 games to start the season. Then we mentioned the Guillermo Hoyos situation. Let's see. Sources, St. Louis City among clubs pursuing American forward Damian Downs from Southampton. St. Louis is working on a loan and not a DP situation. It's not the only club in the mix. CF Montreal has reacquired Dante Seeley from Colorado, $1.4 million in GAM plus $300,000 in add-ons. Montreal bringing Seeley back as a career best season there. So let's see. What else am I missing? Outbounds possibly Jack McGlynn, Manu Dua, Nico Fernandez-Marcao, Kevin Denke, and the Sporting Kansas City overhaul once again continues. Busy week for them. Advanced talks to sign Paulos Abraham from Hammarby, according to sources. Swedish Youth International, 11 goals, 3 assists, just under 1,400 minutes. They wanted to try to sign Nico Fernandez-Marcao for $25 million potentially. Last week, the talks are not active. Rapids, we mentioned Syed Abu Farki from Maccabi Tel Aviv for $6 million. We mentioned that one yesterday. And Rafa Navarro from Brazil, a ton of serious interest. Colorado's received bids in each of the last several windows, braced for an exit, but that has not happened yet. You've got St. Louis once again looking to add in the attack with 12 unbeaten. We mentioned Damian Downs just a second ago. And you had Carlo Hulsa, who has joined in as a DP attacker. So Nico Fernandez-Marcao, once again, 13+5 this season. One of the best players since arriving. Keep an eye on Kevin Denke. Hull City and Real Betis had bids rejected. Clubs holding out for at least $20 million, according to sources briefed on negotiations. Sign him for a fee of 16.2, 33 goals in a season and a half after winning the Golden Boot in Belgium. Manu Dua from San Diego FC. Bids been rejected. Sources say now bids looking in the range of $10 million. Selected number 1 overall, 25 super draft out of UC Santa Barbara, defensive midfielder. Jack McGlynn, obviously, they want to bring in, Houston wants to bring in a player or two, whether or not McGlynn stays or goes. Marko Pasalic, Hull City had a loan offer rejected, never returned with a permanent offer. Pasalic may stay in MLS for the rest of the year. Represented Croatia at the World Cup, would be interested in a return to Europe if a deal materialized. Keep an eye on Leo Labata, contract option for 27. Anthony of Portland Timbers, and interest from Turkey, Middle East transfer windows, 18+14 and 101 matches since the summer of 23. So that's the latest from Tom Bogert. keeping an eye on the tail end of the window. Now, Unai Emery has confirmed the Ollie Watkins exit and the Jackson transfer. So that is there. Let's see. So Champions League draw, League Cup semis, NWSL with the Boston Legacy. Once again, one more season for them in Pawtucket. All right, so that gets us to Major League Soccer. Juice boxes and who's doing what where. That's where we're at. So, Aston Villa is closing in on Mbai with a 55 million euro link to the forward. All right, so Juice boxes, Major League Soccer. 4:40 start time. Seattle a plus 179. Actually, let me hit refresh in case something has changed. All right, so it's still a plus 179. Chicago's a plus 125. Draws a plus 275. Your 740s. Atlanta plus 135. Favored against Charlotte at a plus 174. Draws a plus 265. Messi and Friends minus 278. Hosting CF Montreal at a plus 550. Draws a plus 449. DC United, a big underdog. LAFC comes to town to minus 101. DC United a plus 243. Draws a plus 270. Toronto plus 145. Hosting NYCFC at a plus 166. Draws a plus 252. Red Bulls, dog at home to Philly, plus 114. Red Bulls are a plus 191, draws a plus 290, 840 kicks. Nashville minus 127, hosting FC Cincinnati at a plus 291. Houston minus 156, hosting Earthquakes at a plus 365. Loons a minus 130, hosting Orlando City at a plus 288. Vancouver a minus 244 at Sporting Kansas City, who's a plus 505, draws a plus 400. 940 kick. Colorado hosting RSL at a minus 105. Draws a plus 271. RSL a plus 243. 1040 kicks. Portland a minus 172. Hosting Austin at a plus 395. Draws a plus 328. San Diego FC hosting LA Galaxy in the SoCal Classico at a minus 125. LAG a plus 269. Draws a plus 313. Sunday, Crew at 440. Hosting Revs at a minus 110. Revs a plus 258. Draws a plus 270. St. Louis City SC, minus 102, hosting FC Dallas at a plus 241. Draw is a plus 272. So those are your numbers for your matchups in Major League Soccer on the weekend. So now, let's see. That's achievement. That's achievement. That's achievement. That's achievement there. That. I'm trying to knock out any kind of emails that might be Minnesota United announced today the road match against LAFC at BMO Stadium has had a start time change. So Whitecaps signed U.S. Youth International Tate Johnson to a contract extension, 68 appearances as the 21-year-old fullback, since being selected number 15 overall in the 25 Super Draft. And let's see, that is there. So that I think we're caught up. All right. MLS assignments, and what we will do is we will also do our deep dive that we always do into the Atlanta United match. Ismail Elfath in the middle for Seattle and Chicago. Cameron Blanchard, Kevin Locke, your ARs. Alexis De Silva is your fourth. Jeff Gamble, Craig Lowry are upstairs. Victor Rivas in the middle for Atlanta and Charlotte. Corey Parker, Nick Uranga, your ARs. Lorenzo Hernandez, your fourth. Kevin Terry Jr., Rhett Hamill are upstairs. More on Victor Rivas in a bit. Crew and New England, that got moved. John Freeman, man in the middle. Jeffrey Greason and Jeff Schwartzel, your ARs. Carlos Rodriguez, your fourth. Chris Penso, John Krill are upstairs. DC and LAFC. Sergei Demyanchuk is the man in the middle. Ryan Graves, Matthew Nelson, your ARs. Colin Radoslav is your fourth. Caroline Chenard and Tom Supple are upstairs. Inter Miami CF and CF Montreal. Elohio Adeguin in the middle, Jose De Silva and Gerard Kader-Lebuy, your ARs. Servando Berna is your fourth. Kevin Stott, Logan Bronner upstairs. Red Bulls in Philadelphia, Drew Fisher's in the middle. Corey Richardson, Gianni Facchini, your ARs. Ricardo Montero, Araya is your fourth. Greg Dopka and Fabio Tovar are upstairs. Malik Badawi in the middle for Toronto and NYCFC. Jason White, Eric Weisbrod, your ARs. Philip Dujic is your fourth. However, Jose Carlos Rivero and Craig Lowry are upstairs. Houston and San Jose, Pierre-Luc Lozier in the middle at Helena Shell. Michael Barwag, Leas Arfa, your ARs. Aleo Kalume is your fourth. Daniel Radford and Jeff Mushik are upstairs. Sporting in Vancouver, Marcus de Oliveira in the middle. Corey Rockwell, Ian McKay, your ARs. Fotis Bazakos is your fourth. Jeff Gamble. And Kevin Hewitt is back up and running. He's in a room after a knee surgery. So Kevin Hewitt, your AVAR for Sporting in Vancouver. Kevin Hewitt upstairs. Minnesota United, Orlando City, Alan Chapman in the middle. Kyle Atkins, Callie Smith, your AR. Sergi Boyko is your fourth. Izmir Pekmic, Joshua Patlak are upstairs. Nashville and FC Cincinnati, Armando Villarreal in the middle. Catherine Nesbitt, Diego Blas are your ARs. Rubiel Vasquez, your fourth. Edvin Jurasevich, Jonathan Johnson are upstairs. Colorado and RSL, Rosendo Mendoza in the middle. Jeremy Hansen, Andrew Bigelow, your ARs. Remy Touchant, your fourth. Michael Radchuk, Mike Kampmeinert are upstairs. Portland and Austin, Guido Gonzalez Jr. in the middle. Chris Elliott, Jeremy Kizo, your ARs. Joe Sergen is your fourth. Lucas Apollo, Rhett Hamill are upstairs. San Diego FC and LA Galaxy. Tori Penso Brooke is in the middle. Brooke Mayo, Felicia Mariscal, your ARs. Atahan Yaya is your fourth. Caroline Chenard, Tom Supple doing the doubleheader. They are upstairs. St. Louis City, 7 o'clock Sunday night. Jerry Marufo in the middle. Adam Garner, Walt Heatherly, your ARs. Ricardo Fierro is your fourth. Eunice Maracci, Joshua Patlak are upstairs. So with those listed, let's see if we have the assignment for Atlanta United 2 tonight. Servando Berna is the man in the middle. Fritz Barbarous and Andrew Sharon are your ARs. Ivan Seed Cruz is your fourth. So that will be in Fort Lauderdale tonight. So now we need to do our investigations on Victor Rivas and look at what it is that Victor Rivas has done so far this year in the middle and what kind of a match to anticipate. So we go to our friends at Who Scored and look at the 2026 ref stats. Dialing them up, Victor Rivas has done 14 matches this year, so he's tied for third. Fouls per game for Victor Rivas. He is middle of the road. Actually, he's lower third. I take it back. Victor Rivas is 24th out of 33 at 23.57. So he does not call a whole lot of fouls. Fouls per tackle for Victor Rivas, 22nd, 0.75 fouls per tackle. Penalties per game, 21st, as he has 0.21. So if he has, 2 out of 14, 4 out of 14 is 286. So he has called 3 penalties in 4 games this year. He is averaging 4.5 yellows a match this year. So that puts him 11th. So upper third. But then if you were to take out the top 3, Rodrigo Albuquerque, Joshua Encarnacion, and Matthew Corrigan, who have only called a total of 5 matches among them, he would be 8th in yellows per match at 4.5. Number of yellows, obviously. He's number 1 in the league in yellows with 63 total and averaging 4.5 a match. And he has also had 3 red cards in his 14 matches this year. So 3 pens, 3 reds, imagining that one is attached to the other. Fouls per game, lower third. Fouls per tackle, lower third. Most yellows issued this year. So doesn't call a whole lot of fouls, but his percentage of yellows to games is about 30%. So 4.5 yellows. So he's got 4.5 yellows, an average on 23.57 fouls. So every 6th foul ends up as a yellow, and he's not afraid to brandish a red. So in the red grouping, he's tied for 7th, basically. He and 4 others have given 3 red cards this year. 4 is the max so far given by officials, but Victor Rivas has given 3 in the 14 matches that he has been center ref on. So doesn't call a whole lot of fouls by comparison. Has given penalties, has given reds, 3 and 14. Yellows, he has issued the most yellow cards this season in Major League Soccer with 63, averaging 4.5 yellows per match. So that's the rundown of Victor Rivas. Not a lot of fouls called, not afraid to flash a yellow occasionally, has given reds, has given pens. So that is your Victor Rivas breakdown of what to expect with Victor Rivas here in this weekend when it comes to anything and everything going on with Atlanta United and with Charlotte FC. Tonight, once again, remember, 6:30 pregame, 7 o'clock kick, 7:03 kick. Atlanta United 2, Inter Miami CF 2 in MLS Next Pro. Just to give you an idea, once again, how important this is, standings in the Eastern Conference. Crown Legacy, 7 points clear. They're in, they don't know where yet. Chattanooga at 44 points. Connecticut United at 43. Revs are at 42. They've played one more match than Crew 2. Same record, but better goal difference by 1 goal. Red Bulls 2 at 41 points. Atlanta United at 40. So, Atlanta United wins tonight, 4 matches to go. Then they would be temporarily in 3rd place in the Eastern Conference. But there are, right now, 5 points separating 2 through 9, 8 teams separated by 5 points. Right now in the Eastern Conference and MLS Next Pro, there is no margin for error. One of the most prolific offenses in the Eastern Conference, 2nd in goals scored. And they're 2nd in Major League Soccer in goals scored at 52. But they cannot rest yet. NYCFC behind them in 8th at 39. They have 1 more win than Chicago Fire 2. They're in 9th at 39 points. 4 points to Huntsville City at 35. 1 more win than Orlando City B. Philadelphia Union is 12th at 33. Toronto FC 2 is at 30 points, and they are in 13th. Core, FC Cincinnati 2, and Inter Miami CF 2 have been eliminated. Inter Miami CF 2, by the way, comes into tonight with a record of 2-17-4-1. They've scored 21 goals in 23 matches. They've given up 56. They're 2-6-2 at home. That's where they've gotten their 2 wins this year. They've been at home. So, once again, 6:30 pregame on the network, 7:03 kick. Jason will have the call. I'll be with you pregame, and I will be with you at halftime to let you know what else to expect here on the weekend. So, that was the fun part of all of this, and it is a busy blanking weekend across the board. So, thanks to Matt Tarpley at Tuskegee. Thanks to Doc Mike at Georgia Gwinnett. Sunday afternoon, number 9 William Carey comes to town. Thanks to Lori Lindsey. Thanks to Kei Kamara. Thanks to Javier Perez. It's a big honking show on a Friday. Thanks to all of you guys for hanging out with us, as you always do here on SDH AM. Got the game tonight. We'll all be at Mercedes-Benz tomorrow for Atlanta and Charlotte. Pre-game is at 6:30, Five Stripes Countdown, 92.9 the game on the Odyssey app. Kickoff 7:40, and that'll be with Abe and Maddie. And then after the match, it will be me and Abe for the full-time report, and we'll carry you till about probably 11 o'clock or so, and that'll get you into your late night Saturday. Once again, 92.9 the game in the Odyssey app, and that's where we go. So that is the rundown of the weekend when it comes to Atlanta United and the twos and the very busy time that we've had all week long. Can't thank y'all enough for being a part of SDH AM, and we will break it all down for you as we go. David, thanks for dropping by, as you always do. Everybody have a safe and great weekend, and we'll see you at Mercedes-Benz. We got the broadcast tonight for the twos, and let the busy weekend commence, because it is a busy honking weekend. It's an important weekend on a bunch of different fronts for Atlanta United and Atlanta United 2. Mucho platio. Play it safe. Let's wrap up the week like we always do.
The war was on. The keys on the typewriter had sharp points that kept sticking into our fingers. The dictating equipment started asking us questions, and our beepers sent electric shocks just through our body like like a cattle prod. Out in the warehouse, the trucks kept banging into the docks, not even thinking about stopping. Oh, our frail bodies were strapped to the chairs, and our chairs were chained to the desks. Our pleas for justice were ignored, and the end seemed near. But we busted our slave drivers' little bitty balls. We've charged out of their brick fortress, the streets